but it's not your fault. So,
Yeah.
the world we live in, where everybody's so sensitive.
You mean X, not Twitter X.
I refuse to call it X. Until it succeeds, it will continue to be Twitter.
Yeah.
Wrong, but it's not your fault. So,
Yeah.
if it succeeds as X, and I'm fine with it succeeding as X. I just I'm not gonna buy it until it happens.
I mean, yeah, I hope it does, actually.
Yeah, well, why the hell not?
Just to laugh at everyone that said it wouldn't, but it is stupid.
Yeah, I don't bet against Elon. Period. I've learned my lesson.
Can't find this stupid audio. For some reason, it always does the gain control, and I don't know why. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, good.
Let me see if I can close all these
Let me
things.
see if I can turn your gain control off. Talk for me?
Testing 1, 2. Testing.
Oh, see, I just lost you. You just got super low. I'm not turning it back on. Talk again?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Right. Yeah, you're back in action.
Testing. Testes. 1, 2. Yep.
I got my Panera charger today. Or I like to call it liquid crack.
Oh, let me see if I can set all this stuff up here.
I found out that Panera suggests not to drink more than one of these a day.
Really? And how many do you drink?
I've consistently had like 2 or 3. Like consistent.
Well, I'm sure. How many cups of coffee are you supposed to have?
Yeah, that's a good point. You're only supposed to have a couple cups of coffee a day. And there's people that have like 9.
Yeah, I drink at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, probably right.
Yeah, you'll survive. What's that?
I couldn't even get through the stupid episode of Strange New Worlds, dude. About 70% through, I was like, I don't know, I gotta go.
It's gonna be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
I made it all the way through somehow.
I'm surprised.
Well, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to see it all the way through.
Hey, 1 second. Matt Bader just called me. He's like, we can hear your whole conversation.
I figured as much.
I didn't even know, man. God damn.
Really? Yeah, anytime this thing's on, I just assume that they can always
But I muted the output. I don't know.
Yeah. We should always leave it on, in my opinion. I think it gives people more. People used to love our little pre-production
I don't know.
meetings.
I don't know. We say some spicy stuff.
So, hot mic. You know what's funny? I totally knew we were live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Thursday Unleashed. We are coming at you a little later today at 2 o'clock because Shane has a million things to do today. And that's okay because I actually prefer 2 o'clock. I don't like noon. I'm a late riser. I work late nights. So when he was like, can we push the show to 2 today? I was like, absolutely. Shane, how you doing today, brother?
I just don't want to get angry right away, and I'm trying really hard to not get mad. It's just been whacked this week. It's just whacked. I've got the whole world. Listen, I understand that narcissism is a way of life. Listen, we are all the stars of our own movies every day. We walk around in our head, and everything's about us. I get it. Didn't the world used to be like you kind of considered other people or something, I mean, like a little bit?
It's main character syndrome, bro. Everyone's the main character of their movie now. And they don't even consider that at the very least there's some supporting cast.
I was trying so hard to get here on time. I have to make a left. There's this lane where, we got tons of traffic out here, of course, because it's California. And by the way, when did people stop working at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I mean, I understand why I'm on the road, right? I have I'm retired essentially, okay, from the military, but I mean, this is my job, but most people, they still gotta go to work, right? Don't they? Okay. So I'm pulling up and I got to make a left, and I'm literally like 12 inches from being able to turn into the turn lane, but the car in front of me won't move up. So I keep moving up because my light's going to turn green. Okay.
Right.
My turn. And then it's going to turn red, and the people in front of me are going to turn green.
Right.
And I'm going to miss my light. I just need 12 inches. So I scoot up. I'm like getting close. I give a little honk. Dude never moves, man. He just never moves. He had like a car's length in front of him. Yeah. Anyways. We're here.
He's sitting there scrolling TikTok.
Yeah. And totally clueless. Nobody behind him. And listen, Star Trek probably put me in this mood. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't understand the concept of it seems like bank hours exist when you don't want them to exist, but when you want them to exist, they don't exist. It's like,
I mean, I'd be cool if they just actually worked bank hours. Like everybody's driving around at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm just like, man, people used to work at this time. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So my wife works for a school and she has to be at work at 8 in the morning. Mm-hmm. But my kids also have to be at their school, different school, at 8 in the morning.
Right. I mean, I get the morning, but
such an
people go to lunch.
Odd thing. Yeah.
There's certain times when you expect there to be clearness on the roads, and I miscalculated. So I apologize for everybody being late. I have one kid in band camp this week. I have another kid in soccer camp, and just not enough coverage. So we got it worked out. Today's going to be a great day. I did something ridiculous last night. I went and watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Haunted Mansion in preparation to talk about it today, because there was some interesting things floating around about Splinter being gay. And I just couldn't get a confirmation, so I felt like I needed to see that. And Haunted Mansion, well, I just wanted to see what all the non-hype was about. So lots of fun stuff to talk about.
Sounds fun. Yeah, someone's got to clip the I just need 12 inches. Please clip that for me.
Well, I got to tell you, Archmage, that's what Star Trek Strange New Worlds was like for me. So you guys remember that scene in Shawshank Redemption where Andy Dufresne is finally captured by the sisters? And, it's just, he basically says, you know what? Yeah, fight. Go ahead. It just makes me like it more. That's what it feels like watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Like I just got to stop fighting it and give in to the rape.
Just give in to it. Yeah, just give it. This whole episode was really difficult. I desperately tried to watch it, and I don't mind musicals or whatever. I don't mind them, but I don't like them. That's for certain. And worse than not liking a musical is their reasoning for the musical made zero sense. Like, I know we're gonna get into it, but it made no sense. Like, I couldn't think of a scientific reason for any of this to be happening. It was so odd and so forced.
That's the problem. Well, I love musicals. I actually love watching them. I like Grease. I am strong enough in my manhood that I can enjoy a musical and really have a good time with it. Star Trek should never be a damn musical. It's just doesn't make any sense. And like you said, it's like they've sat down and said, okay, listen, we've got science fiction here. So that gives us a platform to pretty much do whatever the hell we want. And that's just not the case, because especially in this episode, as we'll talk about, the science of what it is really never comes to fruition to explain what's happening. And there's a whole lot more, I would say, spiritualness to this version of Star Trek than anything else, than being more rooted in actual science. So
we got our first tip of the day from Drew D.
Oh,
thank you, Drew D. And I haven't even explained the tipping system, so thank you very much. He says,
appreciate that.
Strange New Worlds is getting actually offensive.
I was pretty angry during this one.
The creators took my favorite IP and made it into their little artistic playground.
Yeah, that's a good point, Drew, because the way I look at it is like Strange New Worlds has like a responsibility. It's the only Star Trek. It's like it's the flagship Star Trek show now.
Right.
So, Discovery's going away. We've done that version of Star Trek, the LGBTQ girl Trek thing. We did it. Okay. And now Strange New Worlds is supposed to be taking us in the next Star Trek. And it's just like, let's just throw everything at the wall. Let's do everything that would be fun. What's fun this week? I know. High School Musical. We haven't done Star Trek High School Musical. Yeah. Holy crap. That'd be great. As soon as Spock started singing, I literally felt like someone was shoving an ice pick into my ear. I mean, it was just like, it felt so wrong to me, and listen, and if you want to do a Rodgers and Hammerstein like thing, I'm down. Like I'm there for, anything, South Pacific or any of these damn wonderful musicals you want to do. It's just, it's not Star Trek. If Broadway wanted to do a Star Trek the musical, okay, that might be a fun outing. Or like some weird thing that would be kind of interesting to go see. Cool.
Yeah,
somebody
like
figured out
Spider-Man the musical or whatever, right?
But when your flagship Star Trek show starts throwing in things like musicals one week and just all kinds of strange, I mean, I got to give it to them. This was a strange new world. I mean, it was strange, forced singing. I mean, there's parts in there where they talk about having background singers and cooch. I mean, it was just really, really weird.
Yeah, I'm still bummed out that we're not actually getting Strange New Worlds. Like, it's like this entire season seems we spend a lot of time just doing nonsense, and we're not actually visiting Strange New Worlds. We're not actually doing Star Trek things. It's episodic, but it's like the worst kind of episodic because like none of the episodes matter. Like none of them matter.
I feel like they're using the science to like reverse engineer the product that they want to create.
Right.
So I think they're like, okay, we want to do a musical this season, the musical number. So let's figure out how we can bend the science to let us do what we want to do instead of creating like a really cool sciencey story that allows them to go on like an adventurous episode.
Right.
And it seems to work backwards. And they've done this.
The reverse thing is like, we want to do this. How can we fit this into Star Trek? Then they go backwards. Yeah. Now, before we get into that though, remember we have been demonetized.
Yes, which is one of the big reasons why we're not at Star Trek Las Vegas this week. We just could not afford to go this time.
Yeah, we were going to go. We were all set up to go, but we couldn't afford it. But you can always support us by going to streamlabs.com/the Popcast Live, or to make it easy, popcast.co, popcast.co. You can see it here. It's pretty cool, actually. It's our little Streamlabs website, and you can watch the stream, you can chat, YouTube chat on the page, and you can send us super chats that we will read. And of course, there's our buddy Christopher Mays and his amazing podcast hat.
And if you guys send us your pictures of the stuff that you receive, we'll be happy to put you up as well.
Yeah, so I plan to start a little gallery. I have been collecting some pictures. I got the Archmage Bluetooth photo. I got a bunch of photos. I plan to put a little gallery on there of like pictures that are cycling of anyone that's sent in the pictures from Discord or social media.
Right, so, and you actually get a higher priority if you take a picture that looks like you're naked, kind of like Chris was there. So
yes. If you are naked in your photo, you will get featured.
We say that with all due respect. Thank you.
100% serious. No. Anyways, man. Yeah. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about, of course, we're talking about strange new musicals. Entitled Disney princesses, Snow White, and more. Of course, TMNT, Haunted Mansion, etc. And Shane did have a chance to see all these things, and I didn't want to, so I didn't.
I didn't want to either. So it's so funny. Last night, I'm with my wife. I'm like, help me out here. I don't want to go see these movies, but I feel like I need to. And she's like, just get it over with. So
right. Haunted Mansion did look interesting at some point, but
I mean, we're going to go into it more depth, but Haunted Mansion is, it's just kind of not special, and I'll talk about why that is. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think you're going to be a little surprised by what I have to say about that today.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks really, really stupid. So,
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, yeah. I think you should hang it on that. It looks stupid. You're 100% right there.
Looks really stupid. Okay. So let's jump into Strange New World, shall we?
Oh yes, we shall. Unless you want to do the little tidbit with the entitled Disney princess first, since it's so quick. I don't know.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's quickly talk about Snow White. I don't even know what's wrong.
What's jacked up is this girl, and I don't know why. I just forgot her name, but she is so incredibly unlikable. Rachel Zegler. Yes, Rachel Zegler is so incredibly unlikable. I couldn't remember ever seeing her in anything.
She was in Shazam 2.
Yes, she was in Shazam 2, which I actually didn't have much of a problem with her. She played the sister that fell in love with.
She played like the 8,000-year-old being that looks like she's 13. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, she did okay in that, but the more she talks, the more I'm realizing that I don't like her. She's also going to be in the upcoming prequel Hunger Games movie, and that made me immediately not want to see it, just because she's such kind of an ugly person, and I mean that in just the way she represented Snow White. I mean, this is the marquee movie that she's going to be in, is Snow White, written of course by Greta Gerwig, which she also wrote Barbie. There is going to be a tie there. But let's see the little video she put out about her entitled ass decided she wanted to talk about being a Disney princess.
Yeah. And don't forget, just in case you guys didn't know, the evil stepmother in Snow White is being played by Gal Gadot.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Gal Gadot is jealous.
You could at least get an uglier,
get an uglier stepmother. You have you got to make it believable. My God, Gal Gadot is
or an over the hill one would have been fine.
Something Gal, maybe a previous beautiful woman that is much older now or something.
Yeah,
but you get one of the most attractive women on the planet, and then you make her jealous of this nasty Rachel Zegler. It makes no sense, dude.
Well, it's funny, they did when Angelina Jolie did. I think she did a version of this or something like that. I was like, she's older. I get it, over the hill, whatever.
I think it was called.
Yeah, but listen, this woman is in her prime, and in fact, if you go back to the last movie that Rachel Zegler was in, she was in a movie, Shazam 2, with Gal Gadot.
Right.
And Gal Gadot was the love interest, was actually the hotter, right? Because that's who he wanted.
Yeah, of course.
He had the hots for her.
He ends up
just kind of weird.
Yeah, he ends up. it's so weird because it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like, you look at this woman and you're like, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest on the wall? And the mirror has the balls to be like, that chick.
Yeah, the mirror's like, no, listen, I'm sorry. I know the story is supposed to tell me I'm supposed to say it's the other person, but no, really, you're much hotter.
Yeah, what is the mirror smoking? Oh, God. All right, this is what Generation Z incumbent said here. Oh, how do I make it bigger?
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
She is the worst.
I'm gonna stand here for 18 hours. I'm gonna get paid for every hour that I am streamed.
If you have to, if you are working 18 hours, you should get paid for 18 hours. It's just odd that she's so ungrateful of her massive opportunity here.
Entitlement it just reeks of entitlement.
It's entitlement, right?
Listen, you should get paid, but the idea of saying, if I'm going to stand there in a Disney, I mean, what you're saying is the hardship of having to be a Disney princess. Let me tell you, there's no hardship of being a Disney princess at all.
Well, maybe if you're working at the park as one of those people.
Yeah, that would be a pain in the butt, to have all these kids like look hungry, like come up to you like as if they want to eat something, and like you're standing there. Yeah, I played Santa Claus once. It was a terrifying thing. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation
before.
Santa
Claus, yeah.
Where the kids really, but see, the difference with me is they really believed I was Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, they didn't believe me.
They're like, oh, he's got the belly. Yes, he's Santa Claus. But they did. The kids looked like oh my God, it's really Santa Claus. That's a lot of pressure. So I can only imagine these Disney princesses must have a lot of pressure at Disneyland.
We got a super chat from the tipper. It says SL_ID 90A46, but I think it's Chris because it says I do look damn good in that hat. $25.
Nice.
So I'm gonna assume that is you.
Thank you, Chris.
And your nickname is just all effed up.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you guys supporting us.
Thank you, Chris.
We almost have enough money to go to STLV. I was really bummed. I know we're going to talk about it. Do you have anything else you want to say about this, Rachel?
No, a lot of people are complaining about how she doesn't fit the bill for Snow White. Like, from my perspective, she's fine, like, looks wise as the character.
Yeah.
I don't like, she has dark hair and her skin is fair enough. It's fine. I guess she's not Snow White or whatever. That doesn't really bother me. It's really her attitude that it bothers me. Like, her general attitude is just sort of garbage, and like the whole Disney has this weird way of ruining everything. I can't explain it. You have layup after layup after layup, and like it's like, here's your layup, sir, and instead of throwing the ball in the basket, they just punch the guy in the face giving you a layup. I'm sorry, but the Little Mermaid should have been a layup, dude. Someone in the writer's room was like, you know what? I have an idea. And not a single person said, yeah, that's a bad idea, dude. We already have the story. We already have this beloved character, this beloved story. All we have to do is transpose that into live action. It is not hard. But let's subvert everyone's expectations and make it bad.
Well, and there's a new movie coming up and it said by the makers of what's the one that made all the billions of dollars? The little girls like.
With the little girls what?
Yeah, the little girls like Disney cartoon. What is that one?
Oh, Moana maybe?
No.
Frozen.
Frozen, that's it. By the makers of Frozen. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it's got this like same idea. It's like this person wants a wish. The girl's supposed to make a wish or something like that. And the guy's like, you give me the wish. And it like turns kind of weird. And the movie is called Wish. And I'm like, oh, cool. I get to see how Disney's going to screw up another product. I mean, they've messed up everything.
They messed up everything. Like, okay, live action Aladdin. Oh, let's completely cast this incorrectly. Let's go out of our way to add,
I mean, at least they cast a movie star like Will Smith. At least he was like
you cast
somebody
a movie
important.
star that has the ability, that musical ability. That was fine. I'm sorry, but their Jasmine casting was absolutely atrocious, and they didn't tell the same story. They tried to go in a weird direction, and that was the least of their offenses. The Little Mermaid, Snow White, these are all layups. You don't have to try that hard. You don't have to go out of your way to be bad, be different, subvert expectations. You have layups here, guys. Like these.
Well, and you got to think of it like this: like when you force anything, like in life, when you force things to happen, how often does it go well? It never does.
No.
Like, when you force somebody to do something or you force a situation to happen, it just never works out right. And Disney is forcing things. They're forcing, characters to be of different, races, different colors, different sexualities. They're forcing the story to change. As when we talk about Haunted Mansion and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you have the same problem. There's this strong desire to change things. And I don't know, it comes from this progressive echo chamber that we have in Hollywood right now, where there's this like, you're only good if you're talking about something that's about, changing the culture. Right. And the problem is that all of us moviegoers are really 2 or 3 steps behind whatever the hell you guys are thinking about. Right. We're just living our lives. And when we see The Little Mermaid as a cartoon, and you say, I'm going to do a live action, we expect to get something similar.
Yeah, it's almost like clickbait. It's like, imagine if we came out on our Prime channel and we made a Babylon 5 history, right? A documentary about Babylon 5. But when you clicked on it, it was a documentary about Barbie's dream house.
Well, I mean, it's not that drastic. I mean, that's not.
But you expect one thing and you get something that's so like it's like an alternate universe version of that. It feels like you were robbed.
Yeah, no, it does. You feel like, well, if you're going to click, it is clickbait. It is well, is it clickbait at this point? Because we do know that that's what's going to happen. So maybe it's not clickbait. We should expect that it's going to be different. It's not that way. It's just disappointment. If we came on this show and we suddenly said, listen, today we're going to talk about America's Got Talent, people would be like, what? That's not why I watch this show.
Yeah, it's like those Netflix memes where like a history of polar bears, and it's just a bunch of like black bears, or like it's always like the opposite of whatever they say it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't understand it. Let's move on from Snow White. It's very odd, as someone who is heavily invested in Disney. Can you just stop? Can you just?
It's painful.
Come on, man.
It could be 20 years before I break even in Disney at this point.
Right. So. It's rough. Well, at least you have Palantir. I don't have Palantir yet, so.
Yeah, Palantir is helping out, but I have to. This has to end at some point. So, the pain. They can only lose money for so long. I mean, that's the interesting thing. At some point, somebody's going to come in here and they're going to David Zaslav this thing. It's going to happen.
Maybe.
They're going to be. Well, it's all about the money. You got to remember, your character and your philosophy can only go so far. But in a corporate industry, if you're not making enough money to take care of the things that you want to take care of, then you have to make the change.
Right.
And I mean, they're trying. I got to tell you, they're really trying to push this agenda as far as it'll go. And of all the companies, you got to at least give them credit for the fact that they're willing to destroy themselves the most. So congratulations on your determination, Disney.
Yes. There was another thing recently just on this topic. It was very odd. I saw a tweet. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm sorry, an X or whatever. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
They're tweets.
Right.
On X.com.
Yeah. By the way, I loved your tweet about the Strange New Worlds thing. By the way, that was really
did you see that one? Yeah, that everybody should see that. That is a good tweet because that is exactly how I felt. I'm watching it happen and I'm like, I just want someone to punch me in the face right now. It was just so painful to watch. I'm like, yeah. Well, most people would say just turn it off. I'm like, I can't turn it off. I'm committed for 10 episodes at least.
Yeah. So Disney is making also Fantastic Four, right?
I don't want to talk about that. I mean, okay. So yeah. And what is the plan for Fantastic Four? Go ahead.
Right. So Fantastic Four is a story of a family that is thrown together. It's a found family that get powers and have to work their way through their problems together as a group. It's actually a pretty good comic. But they're like, Sue Storm will reportedly be the lead in Max Chapman's Fantastic. And I responded to that tweet. I'm like, and they're like, someone was like, well, don't get me the wrong way. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to reserve my criticisms until I see it. That's fair, except for there's a track record here, right? Like, first off, if you want people to watch your movie, I'm not sure why you're even coming out with this news. Like, if you want Sue Storm to be the lead in a there shouldn't be a lead. By the way, there shouldn't be a lead. It's a Fantastic Four movie. It's an
ensemble cast,
right? But if you want Sue Storm to be the lead in Fantastic Four, then why not just do that? Why come out and advertise it?
Because Reed Richards is the leader of the family, period.
And he's a white guy.
And so guess what? It's not going to go down that way in Hollywood right now. It just is not. But here, so what I tweeted out, you had your tweet. My tweet was, shocker.
Right?
I mean, is anybody shocked by this? No, at this point. It's like, tell me about any situation. I mean, it's funny to go through the movies now and take a look. It's like, if you look at any of the movies and you kind of go through them and you look at them, you're like, it's all the same thing. Like there's this heavy push towards the ladies, towards women roles, towards, as long as it's just a non-white dude, then it's all good. Like, all the focus is taken. And listen, Tom Cruise may be like the last Mission Impossible of the, centered on him type of roles. But yeah.
It's we'll very odd, though. My thing is, like, why do you advertise it? Like, if you're going to do it, just do it. But, like, there are people that are going to get this news and be like, oh, cool. Now we don't have to watch the movie. Now we're going to actively advertise people do not watch the movie. And you're going to make less money. Just do it. Let me tell you why.
Because they don't understand the mentality of what you just said. They think that it makes sense to the whole world that Sue Storm would be the center of the story. They do. That's the mentality. It's the problem when you live in this echo chamber. It's like, well, everybody I talk to is like, yeah, Sue Storm, that makes the most sense, right? I mean, she's like, we should center around her. That's what Hollywood, that's what society needs right now.
Right.
So they don't even consider the fact that reasonable people would be like, okay, well, that's not what Fantastic Four is typically about. And then not also to see the motives like, whatever you do, you can't have, Reed Richards in charge, not in today's climate. And let me tell you, I can't tell you how many Hollywood insiders and players that we've had tell us things that are like, oh God, no, we can't fire that person, or we can't let go of that person. That's a woman. We can't. You crazy? We're going to get a lot of trouble.
Right.
So there is a mentality for this around, but it's easy to kick the dude. It just is. I mean, look at Barbie. Look at Barbie. Yeah. I mean, it's an hour and a half of kicking men in the balls. I mean, that's what it is. So, and it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah. In the members section, we got something to say about that. So
certainly
don't go anywhere. Okay. So let's jump into Strange New Worlds.
We mentioned the we don't have the confetti yet, or the gong or whatever for the new Popcast Stream Hero.
Oh,
I know we're planning to do this some point.
The gong?
Well, some sort of recognition that somebody took over as the Stream Hero.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, also the name is all messed up. So Chris took over. But
no, I like this name. This name's good.
but the name is all messed up. I don't know why.
Slid 90s 46-1. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, we plan to. Well, there it goes.
What did you do? It looked like you kicked it.
Yeah.
You see that? It went.
No. So that's the default animation. I think Chris just gave more money to fix his name. Thank
you, Chris, for making it so that people will know. It's Fantastic.
Thank you, Chris. Chris just gave us $25. $25. Thank you, Christopher. He says, everyone heard Brian Shade promise a definitive history of Babylon 5, right?
I know. Yeah, you heard it, Chris. Actually, we are working on that. In fact, I'm trying to get Michael J. Straczynski to do a show with us coming up here because the Babylon 5 cartoon is coming out here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we are planning on doing a Babylon 5 definitive history. It's a lot of work. As you guys know, our definitive histories take a little bit of time, but it is on the list. And we are slowly working on it, so that's going to happen. Eventually,
it's probably the third one, honestly.
Yeah.
We've probably got two others coming before that.
Okay, guys, listen, let's get into strange new musicals.
We've waited as long we've held off as long as we can.
We've held off as long as we could. If you guys don't know how the Stream Hero works, just if you do super chat, whoever is the Stream Hero the longest is gonna be able to spin the wheel at the end and get free stuff. It's good times. All right. And we're getting better at this as we go. Okay, let's talk about strange new weirdos. Okay, you're gonna have to explain some of this for me because I was I was so lost. Like I was lost from minute 1:15.
Okay, and let me also say, if you are here watching this and you love this episode, listen, no, I'm not judging you, so that's fine. If you liked it, then that is totally fine. I will say that it's just not Star Trek in the way, and I will say in this way, Star Trek should be, in my opinion, a show, at least the flagship show, should be a show that is about hope, that is about science, is about a little bit of serious, but some levity, but this all out kind of what's the right word? Like it's like mirroring Lower Decks in some ways.
Yeah, just nonsense.
It's nonsense. That's it. The nonsense of it is making it less Star Trek. If this was any other show, I might have been like, okay, whatever. But so that's why it's so hard to deal with. So I just want to have that precursor before we get started.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so there is a naturally occurring subspace fold. Or whatever.
A naturally occurring, let's break it down. A naturally occurring subspace fold. What is subspace? It's the space below space.
Right.
Right? It's where we travel and warp, right? So it's folding.
Yeah, Star Trek seems to put a lot of stuff into subspace.
I think what they do is they just use these words. I think they have a whole list of Star Trek words like subspace or like warp or like wormhole, and they just combine a whole bunch of words together anytime they want to create something new sciencey.
Nebula.
Because this does not make sense to me.
Nebula.
Right.
What is it? Well, there was one anomaly.
Yeah. How about a warp intensified nebula anomaly? There you go. There's a Star Trek term for you.
So there's a naturally occurring subspace fold, and I guess they're investigating it or whatever.
Now, why would they occur naturally? Why would you have a naturally occurring subspace fold?
That makes no sense. There shouldn't be a naturally occurring subspace fold.
It's nothing we've ever heard of, or at least there should be some sort of explanation of why it would be a naturally thing and what it means. All we know is that it somehow is tapped into some strange harmonic frequency that forces everyone to break out in show tunes.
Right, and so this is actually a major problem with Strange New Worlds. So there, once again, there is an A and a B story here, right? The A story should be this naturally occurring subspace fold and what it means to the crew, the Federation, science, exploration, etc., etc. The second, the B story should be what it does to the crew and how that wraps into like their personal life and their drama and La'an talking to Kirk, etc., etc. But for some reason, like once again, their priorities are completely out of whack.
Right. And if you guys didn't notice, this entire episode was all about feelings, because apparently when you watch a musical, people only start singing when they're getting into their feelings. So, if you notice, if you go through it, I mean, it's just an in-depth review of how everybody feels on the show. And we've already agreed that makes Star Trek worse.
Right.
Like Discovery's already taken us down this road where it's all about feelings. And how often do we need to, traverse, how these people feel about each other every damn episode?
Every episode. Every episode.
And so you're right. The B story it's like, I wouldn't even say there's a secondary story here. There is a plot device of a naturally occurring subspace fold, which we still don't know what the hell that is.
Well, according to Lord Toth, this is not a subspace fold. This is an interdimensional aperture anomaly, as the scientists return.
Nice. Circled by a black hole and shoved in a nebula. How about that?
Right.
Yeah. So
wrapped in an enigma.
Right. There's beings that live in subspace. Star Trek has taught us, like, there's beings that live in subspace. So what's a subspace fold? Anyways.
All right. Yeah, that's right. No, that's the wormhole aliens. Isn't it the wormhole aliens?
Well, the from Voyager, the caretaker, the caretaker's wife lived in subspace.
Okay, all right, let's move on.
Yeah,
too much.
Oh, too much. But yet this episode isn't.
No, I just like.
Wait, when Klingons begin to sing, okay. When Klingons begin to sing, okay.
No, it's bad. You're right. The emotion. The personal drama between all the characters, that's the most important thing here, not the science, not the exploration, not the actual strange new worlds, not the actual Star Trek of it, but the connection between the characters. That is the most important part. I saw the Klingon thing, by the way, Archmage. I saw it, bro.
And you know what's frustrating is that there's so much potential here. I think that's what makes me so mad. Like the potential for this being a really great show is there. They have everything that they need. They have good actors. They have good characters, right? They just won't do it. And I think the reason why is because Akiva and everybody working on Star Trek understands Star Trek in a pop culture term. Like everything we watch here reminds me of things we've seen in Star Trek pop culture. Even towards the end when they're doing the Strange New Worlds theme music as part of the episode. Like that's not something that's supposed to be played on the bridge. Music, it's like they don't have this understanding that there are some things that are apart from Star Trek and some things that are a part of it, and they don't know how to separate the two things. It's like watching Saturday Night Live, version. Oh, we saw Saturday Night Live. We saw when they did that. Okay, so we're going to incorporate that somehow in Star Trek because that's what Star Trek is.
I realize if you're a Lower Decks fan, like say you were introduced to Star Trek via Lower Decks. And like you're watching this is probably awesome.
It's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole audience. I mean, I think the saddest part about this whole thing is that Star Trek, the audience that it is garnering, the new audience is not truly going to understand what Star Trek is and what its history is all about. And this is what they see Star Trek as now.
By the way, somehow, just another aside here. Kirk does not actually work on the Enterprise, just to be clear.
Despite what it seems to be this season. Yeah.
This dude
he's on the Enterprise all the time.
Enterprise every episode. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that it's just so convenient. You should just given him a posting on the Enterprise, for the love of God.
Yeah.
No, but they couldn't do that because that wouldn't fit canonically.
I will say this episode does give us a look at his, we get a look at his future. We find out he has a kid, basically. Right. So from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Carol, was it Carol Markinson? Can't remember the last name. Carol Marcus, that's it. Carol Marcus, we find out he's currently with her, on again, off again relationship, right. And the on again is happening now because she's pregnant. So we get a little bit of that, and that was okay. I'm like, okay, good backstory, makes sense, good timing.
Yeah, so we're setting up that Genesis Search for Spock storyline. All right.
I mean, a long ways from now, yes.
Yeah, right. Anyways, so Chapel is still trying to get her fellowship with the Vulcans. Yeah, even though the Vulcans were total dicks to her.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. Initially I was like, why is she still pursuing this? And I was like, oh, I know why. Because it is dramatic. It's not like she is like she was originally pursuing it because she was like stressing over Spock. Well, she's with Spock now, but now why would she pursue it? She's happy. She's doing field research with people that she likes. She's very fulfilled. She's dating Spock. She has everything she wants. Why would she possibly still pursue this fellowship when she was so dismissed earlier? Because it makes for a good vehicle for dramatic, emotional moments.
Right. Well, that's what the show's all about. And the Vulcan Science Academy wouldn't want her anyways. So
no, she's not a Vulcan.
I still say this doesn't make any sense.
She's not even half Vulcan, for the love of Mary. All right. We gotta
wait. Go back 2 again. Can you go like? Do you still have it up, or did you close it?
No, I didn't close it. I just wanted to do the super chat real quick.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to real quick make a comment, really quick, real fast comment.
Okay.
If you can pull her back up again, and just go back 2. Oh, I guess 2 is not too much.
Okay.
Go back. Okay. Boy, can I go forward?
Oh my God, this
girl.
I can't win.
There we go.
This.
Boy, girl.
All right. So weird.
It's not weird. It's actually very accurate.
Okay. All right. There's a super chat. I don't want to miss super chat. So.
All right.
Super chat from Annan, whoever that is. Thank you, Annan. He says, wasn't a fan of Strange New Worlds musical episode. I actually believed it was well done. I just didn't like it for Star Trek. I've been enjoying season 2, so that was a bummer. I hear that, brother.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point here. Like the singing was good. Like their voices are talented. They obviously are very talented actors. The problem is that for me, anyways, it totally compromises their characters.
Right.
So when I see them in this light, and now they're singing and they're doing this stuff, it just changes what I think about their character. And I got this whole thing going with M'Benga or La'an, and now they're breaking out and doing musicals, and it changes the value of their character to me. And I see the character in a different light. And honestly, I think it causes more confusion than anything else, because I don't know what to expect from these characters. Like, nobody seems to be anchored in one thing or the other, because all these strange things keep happening to them that don't really align with their character. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And they're singing against their will, which was weird.
Yeah. I still don't understand the science of it. Doesn't make. Anyways, we'll get there. Another super chat from JT Gun Cap on your left, my friend. He says, "Thank you for setting up my new merch store. I really appreciate it. Yes, go check out JT."
Yeah, actually, really cool looking designs.
Yep, late night with Cap. I like the mugs like a lot. They actually turned out really cool.
No, it all looks really good. So yeah, definitely. Thank you, JT, for the support. And he's also the stream hero at the moment. So thank you, JT. Appreciate the support, man.
I guess I was wrong. I guess I had the wrong fellowship. I don't know. That's my bad.
What do you mean, fellowship?
Whatever. Whatever fellowship she was going for, I'm not sure why she's.
It was a Vulcan Science Academy thing, right?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Anyways, moving on. So, she has to tell Spock or whatever about this dramatic, emotional, blah, blah, blah. They're having a problem with the subspace full, real-time communication, blah, blah. I don't know. You want to explain any of this? Because none of it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense scientifically.
It doesn't. It doesn't scientifically make any sense. There's some sort of vehicle. It's an anomaly that can just force them to do things. And listen, there in TOS, there was moments where beings could make Kirk and Uhura kiss. Really clever way of getting your first interracial kiss.
Yeah.
It was against their will. It made sense. This might have made more sense if you had like some sort of show tunes god show up. Who who mourns for Apollo, right?
That's
If
a
there
good
had
point,
been,
brother. There was some things in TOS that didn't make any sense scientifically, I suppose.
no, 100%. I mean, it doesn't have to make sense scientifically.
I mean, but you have to
it was,
try to explain it, though. Like, try to explain it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was controlled by a being. This is not a being. This is an anomaly. This is something occurring naturally in space.
I feel like we've evolved a little bit since then, too, where, like, the audience, at least the Star Trek audience, does expect some kind of logic to be into play here, not just this is happening because of X, but we don't know how we got to X in the first place. And that's the most frustrating thing. Like, let's throw a bunch of technobabble at it and say this is just happening. Now let's move on with the story. Okay.
Right.
All right. What? All right. Cool.
You know, and it would have been cool to have an episode where they were forced to do things beyond their control, but yet they still sensed it underneath somehow. This seemed like they were all in on wanting to sing. In fact, Uhura can't contain herself on the idea of getting the entire crew to sing together in a big ensemble piece at the end of this episode. You know, it's like they break character in multiple places here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, there is that moment on the bridge where Pike is singing to, once again, his girlfriend that is in every episode for some reason, even though she doesn't work on that ship. And they actually turn him off. Like they turn off communication.
Yeah, huge kudos to La'an after we already heard way too damn much.
Right.
By forcing off the turn. But just the fact, it was just so uncomfortable and weird. And I mean, my question is like, you decide you're going to make this episode. Why? To me, it seems like the reason why they wanted to do it is because they wanted to showcase everybody's voices. Right. To me, it was like, hey, these guys can sing. Well, let's do an episode where they sing.
Well, no,
it's like,
I don't think that. I think they just really wanted to make a musical episode. I think that like they want to make like these weird, dramatic, emotional episodes, and they wrap it in classic Trek, or their version of classic Trek.
I know, but in order to do singing, everybody has to have good voices.
By the way, there's one episode left in the entire season, and we haven't gotten a single a really serious episode of Star Trek.
Well, last week we did, but then M'Benga ends up doing something so out of character.
Right, you're right. We did last week. We got a serious episode, but it ended with a universe-breaking problem that everyone just sort of accepts that he murdered this guy in cold blood. Yeah, I don't know. It's like moving on. Okay, so they're singing problems. Strange New Worlds intro.
And then they sang the intro. So there was like it reminded me of who's that little singing troupe on YouTube that got really popular, and they like they did like the Star Wars theme song, and they're pretty good.
Pelotronics?
They did a rendition of Star Trek almost like them in this thing.
Yeah, I actually know one of the people. I know him by knowing someone else that was in that group. All right. Yeah, they're singing, blah, 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 whatever, dancing.
Yeah, the dancing. Like, it's like, okay, I understand it's making you sing, but now it's making you dance too? Because there's like dancing.
So weird.
I don't understand. And listen, I don't want to hate this. I want you to know, and I think that's probably why I'm so angry about it, is because, like I said, there's so much potential here in these characters. To see them do ridiculous things like this just takes away from the overall Star Trek experience. I mean, let me tell you, Christina Chong, she's got a great voice.
Don't be sad, you gotta kiss. No.
And she sings, she sees like Kirk and Una like dancing together as they're singing, and I'm just like, she gets jealous or whatever, and
and she doesn't want to break like the time continuum or whatever. She doesn't want to like mess up time, so she can't tell him about it. So she does end up telling Una about that. By the way, here we go. Here's that scene where they're like singing to each other, and
this is so uncomfortable. And by the way, Anson Mount actually his girlfriend Captain Battelle has the worst singing voice on this episode.
Yeah, she does.
But he's number 2. So you look pretty, Anson, but I don't think you got the voice.
You know what's funny is I just realized that STLV right now
is
going to have zero Star Trek actors?
Well, no, they do. They can go as long as they don't promote anything that they're currently doing. And there's a lot of people at STLV.
Really?
A lot.
Are they?
Yeah.
So they're not allowed to promote anything they're currently doing.
Yeah, you can just go and like bask in. Nobody has anything to do. Nobody's working. Right. So I saw Terry Matalis was on his way with Tasha Yar to STLV. I'm like, Terry's going to STLV. Well, that means he officially has nothing to do.
Yeah.
So that's what that's all about.
Okay. So problem, emotion. Moving on. I'm just trying to burn through
it just
this.
all sucks.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. It's just not fun. Listen, I know I want to have fun with Star Trek. It's not fun.
It's not.
It's
boring.
not.
It's boring. So so the problem is now spreading.
Yes.
And like the
entire Alpha Quadrant might break out in song at any moment.
The improbability field or whatever.
Made up words.
Is now spreading to.
The improbability field is spreading across the hypotenuse of the square root of.
Spreading to the rest of the Federation, the other ships, plus the Klingons. And the explosion.
The space-time continuum is going to explode. Cool, we got a map like this. Awesome.
If hitting just a few subatomic particles nearly blew up engineering, so apparently firing on the field will be devastating. Okay. And the Klingons are upset because, this is what he said, it would be like soaking the improbability field in kerosene.
You guys still using kerosene, huh? Cool.
It's such a weird thing.
Why even use the word kerosene? It's so weird.
Like the last thing anyone wants is seeing Klingons. He says that. So the Klingons are upset because they've located the abominable issue and they're gonna fire on it. But they've literally just told you that only destroying a few particles nearly blew up engineering. So if they fire on the anomaly, it's gonna like blow up the whole galaxy or whatever.
Right? Yeah, because that's all. It's always like life or death in Star Trek. You remember, like back in TOS, TNG, every episode wasn't about destroying the entire Alpha Quadrant.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it was a localized, terrible thing that was about to happen, but not the destruction of everything. And I don't know why Star Trek has done this thing where it's like, everything will be destroyed. It's like they have to raise the stakes on everything so high.
Where did the subspace fold come from? It just showed up and started wreaking havoc on everything, and so
why is a subspace fold bad?
Right, it's so weird. I don't get
it. Like, why is that a bad thing?
Do they close it up permanently so it doesn't happen again over the next 300 years, or if every time a random ship gets caught in one of these things and fires on it, is the entire galaxy going to explode? You are putting up questions that affect the entire canon going forward,
the whole franchise, right,
for hundreds of years. Because now, what if there isn't let's say they know how to close it. What if there isn't a Federation ship there? What if there's a Tellarite ship there and they're a bunch of dummies and they don't like singing, so they fire photon torpedoes or whatever at the fold, and next thing you know, all of Star Trek goes up in smoke. Like, I mean, come on, you.
Oh, so check this out. Okay, yeah. So in Star Trek Online, you can activate a subspace fold, and it will transport your starship approximately 6.66 light years forward. So apparently, a subspace fold, at least in Star Trek Online, has to do with traveling, which we knew subspace has to do with traveling.
No, even though originally subspace was communication.
It was originally communication. It was. But we found out later when subspace gets damaged, then nobody can use warp. Right? So subspace now has something also to do with
right. If they use like the wrong kind of warp, then it damages subspace. So well, you can't use that kind of warp. That was another criticism I had back in regular Star Trek. I'm like, you guys can't mandate what warp people can use because there are plenty of races that aren't going to listen to you. So like when you're that big, well, we can't go that fast or use this type of warp because it damages subspace. Okay, well, tell that to the third world the third world races that don't care about damaging subspace. Same exact problem we have in the real world. Hey, we're
Right.
damaging the planet by dumping billions of pounds of plastic into the ocean. Cool, we're not going to do it anymore. But can you guys tell Indonesia that? So the same concept, right? Like, you guys are damaging subspace, so we're not going to do it anymore. We've made this declaration. But you mess up the entire canon of Star Trek when you say that, but you're not taking into account the races that don't give an F at all. Like, they don't care. Romulans don't care.
Right.
They don't care about damaging subspace.
Well,
China don't care about killing all the whales. You know
Well,
what I mean?
they might when they can't travel through subspace.
No, I mean,
But-
they use wormhole, captured wormhole, whatever. Remember? They don't even care. Anyways, moving on. All right, so they got to figure out a way to fix this problem quickly before the Klingons decide to blow up the entire quadrant. Because once again, Klingons are just a bunch of dummies that just they don't have any common sense. Singing, Chapel singing. Good looking lady. I gotta say that.
Good looking teenage boy.
No, that's not. No. Every time you say that,
I just don't know what else to say about it. That's what it reminds me of.
she's a good looking chick. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't see it.
All right, whatever. Subjective, I guess.
It is. It is. Now Una is very good looking.
Oh, Una is 100%.
Yeah.
We're both on the same page there. Rebecca Armain, though, it's always been absolutely stunning. All right, moving on. Emotion, 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 Vulcan, emotion. Oh, I don't care. I so don't care about this. Can we move on? What's next, Jay?
Una is going to Uhura is going to solve the problem and sing about it.
Right.
She figured out they have to get the harmonics to a certain level, which means they need more people to sing together at the same time in order to raise it to the level that could defeat the subspace bull. Sorry, I don't mean to belittle it. I mean, great effort here.
Low.
I mean, great effort here, but this is not. Yeah, all right. Different universe. Different universe.
Yeah, it's different timeline. That's what. Yeah. So everyone's gonna sing or whatever. This makes no.
She's got a great voice.
Makes no sense, dude. None of this makes sense.
You know what's funny is I can't remember what actor.
At least be like, let's activate the dish in the front of the ship and beam our voices into the thing. Like, let's just all sing. It's stupid. Like, do something. Like, do something science, please.
And we forgot to harp on the fact that this is not just. Even they knew they were pushing the limits with this episode, because if you go back to before the season starts, they all talk about as, oh yeah, episode 9 is something you guys ain't ever seen before. We're super excited about it, but no, you ain't ever seen nothing like this before. You're right. We hadn't seen nothing like this before. It was, and it was also Uhura's favorite episode. So.
They're all dancing.
What? Stop. Go back and do that again.
Oh, it's so cringe.
Wait,
it's so cringe. What is this, Grease, dude?
It's Guys and Dolls. Come on, do it again here.
It's so stupid.
The Sharks versus the Jets.
Okay. It's so silly. It's just so silly.
You need to clip that little part and put Star Trek 2023 and tweet that out.
I will do that for you. We got lost and disconnected. Shut up. Oh God. It's
so hard to watch. It's so hard to watch.
It's like you ever feel like such levels of cringe that like you feel embarrassed for the people.
That's it. I was embarrassed. I watched the whole episode embarrassed. That's what it was.
Yeah, this feels like a relative that got drunk at a wedding and won't shut up.
It's like, come on, it was already bad enough, but come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna unmute this now so we can hear the Klingons, just for you guys. Okay.
God.
Gonna draw your last breath at the
Thank you, Christopher Pike. That's the look I had on my face too. Ooh, right. Because me doing it wasn't weird enough.
That's 100. That's right there. That's the entire episode. That's the entire reaction to this entire episode right there. That turn is pretty much exactly how I felt the entire time.
Look. That is the look on his face.
Holy
shit. Watching. Holy shit. What's going on? What's happening?
Apparently that's Hemmer. They're saying that's Hemmer.
You know what I mean.
What? Who's Hemmer? That Klingon?
One of the Klingons, I guess, is Hemmer.
I guess Bruce Horak did get to come. We're with you, Captain. We're with you.
Okay, so
Can we save that somehow? I mean, like that's
100%. I'm making as soon as this show is done, I'm gonna make a little compilation of this. I will throw it in the members section first, and then I'll share it on Twitter.
Great.
Okay, so this is very stupid. Everything about this is stupid. I don't enjoy it. There was healthy parts of season 2 I was enjoying. In fact, when I discovered that it's another timeline, episode 3, I was like, great, let's have some fun. But like somehow the show heard me and it was like, oh, let's push it farther. Let's just go off the rails. And I don't know what's going to happen in episode 10. I know that there is already a season 3. So I'm assuming episode 10 is going to be some kind of cliffhanger involving Kirk or something.
Yeah. Let's see. It seems like they're really chasing down this Kirk La'an timeline thing. So you're probably going to see it's either going to be Kirk and Spock and Chapel or Kirk and La'an, some sort of cliffhanger thing.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. That's it. I don't have anything else to say about it. If we were giving like ups and downs here, this would be like we'd have like a negative 37 at this point. So I don't know.
I would have scored it the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's pretty rough.
Of TV shows because of the level of. I'm trying to put it in a way. This is kind of like, imagine if we're watching. Okay, yeah. Imagine if we're watching Breaking Bad.
Okay.
And all of a sudden they're like doing a drug deal, and then they just start breaking out in song. What would you think about that? What would you think about that? Because to me, that's what Star Trek. I mean, I know everybody wants Star Trek to be fun and be like this different thing than what Star Trek is. It's just not what Star Trek is.
Right.
Like, it's just not. I mean, you can make Star Trek anything you want it to be, but that doesn't mean that that's now what Star Trek is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that doesn't. Like, you can have levity. You should. It's okay to have levity. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. This just doesn't make any sense. It's like you went out of your way to create something that only you and your friends would like, and you don't actually have any actual respect for Trek, so you don't really care about the fact that the medium wouldn't even support something as silly as this, you know?
And maybe break barriers once you've like shored up all the cracks in the walls. You know, the Star Trek has, thanks to Discovery, there's a bunch of cracks in the walls. It like needs to be shored up. Picard season 3 did a little bit of that. Like, okay, this is what Star Trek is, but like Strange New World season 1, which wasn't completely horrific, like they just doubled down in season 2. And they talked about it in between the two. They said, well, we took a lot of risks in season 2. Why did you take risks? What was it that you needed to worry about? You weren't going to get canceled. Like, why did you need to take risks? Just go tell good Star Trek stories. It's all anybody cares about.
Right.
It's like they feel like if they're not pushing the envelope, then they're not doing good enough or something.
It's weird. It's like, look, like I'm definitely not on the studio side on this whole WGA strike, but like if that is what we're writing, you gotta, maybe the studio has a little bit of a point. Maybe you're being overpaid.
Right.
It's so bad, bro.
I mean, listen, I know they're doing the best they can.
Well,
You know,
clearly
they are.
Clearly they're not, though.
No, they are 100% disagree. They are 100% doing the best that they can. When they sit down to write it, they're like, I'm going to do my best. Right. You know, I mean, they're just not maybe perhaps talented enough to do it as good
You're
as
saying they're doing their best, but they're not very good at what they do.
Yeah.
I would counter with they're doing what they think is their best.
Well, that's what their best is.
But ignoring 50 or 60 years of canon, ignoring everything that makes Star Trek, you know.
That's what their best is, though. You know what I'm saying?
Their best is like they think this is good. They think this is good.
Yes, they think that they're the best. They're doing the best that they can.
Well,
you know, and you know, I don't know if it is the problem because we're older, because we've experienced so much good content. You know, is now the content just shit? No, there's good content out right now. I just got done watching. I'm in the second season of Ted Lasso. I got to tell you, Apple is like my new thing. I love Apple.
Wait till you get to season 3. It doesn't hold up. But yes,
well,
right.
But I'm getting two good seasons.
First 2 seasons are great. Yeah.
You know, For All Mankind, I'm there's stuff out there that's good to watch. So, but this is just not for me.
There's not much stuff currently though. Like everything Shane's watching is past. But I get
that's true. Saying. But there's nothing new, really, is there?
Yeah, there's new stuff. It's just not very good.
Oh.
It's either hypersexualized, like teenage high school dramas where you're watching and you're like, is that person over 18? I'm like, I don't know anymore. Or it's like a bunch of really, really ugly people, some dramatic business thing, or like a cop procedural with a bunch of ugly older people. And it's like, there's nothing.
Ugly older. It's like you said, everybody's ugly.
It's either a bunch of very, very, very young, hypersexualized bad actors that are questionably legally allowed to get naked, and you're uncomfortable watching it, or a bunch of pretty good actors, but everything they're given is hyper dramatic, really oversold nonsense. Everything now, there's so little entertainment value to everything I watch. There's so little heart. Like I don't get a lot of heart in anything. Everyone is vapid. Everyone's the main character. Everyone is a narcissist. Every main character you watch nowadays has such extreme flaws that you can't root for them as a normal human being. I think you yourself have to also be a massive narcissist to root for any of these people.
Well, art is a reflection of society. So, you know, people can only create what they know.
Right.
And, you know, social media is creating, you know, it's turning a lot of us into the worst form of who we can be. You know, and if you're not grounded in some way, you could just fly away.
No, you're right. Aaron Ernest here says Snowpiercer season is awesome. Yeah, Snowpiercer is great, but there hasn't been new Snowpiercer for a long time. So, you know, there is good shows out there that if you haven't seen, I can give you a lot of great shows to go watch, but none of them are current. All the current stuff lacks heart. All the current stuff lacks it lacks. I have no other way to say it. It lacks heart. It's either a bunch of young, vapid.
Can you give some examples?
Okay. Here, let me just pull up my Hulu real quick, and I'll give you a bunch of examples.
Because I don't. There's a lot of these shows I'm just not even remotely interested in, so I won't watch them. But if you have any that would resonate with any of us,
yeah,
you know,
I watch a little bit of everything. I
like
try
Lipstick Island 19. I don't think counts.
No. I watched the new Justified with Timothy Oliphant. Justified, whatever it's called, City Prime, whatever. It's pretty garbage. They created a new Justified without understanding what made Justified good in the first place. It literally lacks all the things that made Justified good. There's a new Futurama that came out. You'd think I'd be all about new Futurama. Somehow, it's the most subpar Futurama I've ever seen. It lacks all the normal heartfelt moments from characters where you want to like them. And it just seems like a Simpsons version of the show. One show that's really good right now that's actually current, I would say, is What We Do in the Shadows. Right now, that show is great. I have nothing bad to say about it. So that's great. What else? I'm trying to watch a lot of stuff.
I don't know how you do it.
Another thing that bothers me about freaking, like, why is there no continue watching on Hulu? My God, I hate this damn series so much, but it has the most up to date things. So
Hulu does?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this show that I was watching recently. I can't find it because there's no continued watching on here for some reason.
I'm not watching anything that's not on Apple for like the next several months. 100%. I'm going to watch Silo. I'm going to watch Foundation. I'm going to watch Mythic Quest. I'm going to watch C. I'm going to watch all those shows. I watched the video game, the one with oh God, what is it? The one that came out with the Nintendo. Tetris. I watched Tetris. Fantastic. Fascinating.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. You know, Apple's making some good stuff right now. And you know what I noticed about Apple? It doesn't feel woke. None of the stuff on Apple feels like it has an agenda.
Right.
You know, nothing I've seen anyway so far.
I can't find what I was watching because the stupid thing doesn't allow me to sort by continued watching. I'm not going to search right now. But there's a show going on right now. It's about like this pop star. Everyone was talking about it on Reddit for a while, so I plugged it in. And it's literally about these questionably of age, hypersexualized, just nudity all over the place, pop stars. They have zero acting ability. It's just so vapid and stupid and gross. It's over the top with how hypersexualized it is. Like I'm not someone who has a problem with hypersexualization. I don't mind a good nudity. I gotta be honest with you.
Oh, we know.
But this made me uncomfortable. It's called The Idol. Thank you, Hulu, for finally giving me something. Yeah, The Idol is garbage. It features like The Weeknd, who is not an actor. He literally says the most atrocious things to like these what appears to be 15-year-old girls. It's weird and gross, and it makes me uncomfortable. I couldn't watch that anyways. Like, it's just not something I can put on TV in front of me. Everyone was talking about it, so I want to see what they're talking about. I watched 2 episodes, and I was like, I'm done. The Righteous Gemstones just wrapped up. I did like The Righteous Gemstones. It's good, but I got to be honest. If you don't like that guy, what's his name? The actor that plays in like the main character, Danny McBride. If you don't like Danny McBride, you're gonna have a hard time. Because
he's an acquired taste.
He's an acquired taste. And look, it also has John Goodman. So you think, well, if there's more John Goodman in it, then I can deal with. And season 1 it wasn't all Danny McBride. It was like it was an ensemble thing. But as the seasons went on, it became more and more the Danny McBride show. And I gotta tell you, if you do not like Danny McBride, but you like Adam Devine and John Goodman, you are going to have a hard time.
It sounds like you don't like Danny McBride.
I don't think I do. I think he's annoying. I think he's like he's obnoxiously, aggressively offensive, and it's not. It just doesn't work. The sister in that show also like aggressively offensive. There's good things about that show. Great things, actually. I actually like it. But it's really hard for me to get past a lot of the garbage. Succession was supposed to... Everyone's talking about how great Succession is. Succession is so good. Oh, my God.
Okay, let's finish your thought.
You
I haven't seen it yet.
You have to dedicate a healthy portion of your time and your brain power to this show. If you don't have a couple hours to spend watching and then digesting Succession, it requires such a commitment that a person with 2 jobs and a family really can't enjoy Succession. I'm not saying it's bad. I think it's good. But it requires so much of me that every time I go to turn on, I'm like, I can't do Succession right now. You know what I mean?
Too much effort.
I need a day off.
Too much brain power.
I need a day off to enjoy Succession. I tried watching Euphoria because of Zendaya, and everyone's like talking about how great it is. I'm sorry. She's not a good actress. I'm going to say it. Zendaya is a YouTuber turned superstar. She's not a good actress. She always plays the same role. She is continually, never ending, high on something. At what point does this actress ever play someone who is not completely fucking blazed out of her mind? She is constantly stoned in everything she does.
Well, that's a reflection of culture too. Because
and maybe you like her. Maybe you're like really into this character. If you are watching Euphoria or whatever, you're like, I love Euphoria. You like Zendaya. You don't like Euphoria. You like Zendaya. And that's fine. You can be a fan of her. But I'm not a fan of her. So I'm watching the show. I'm like, what is the like on this? A bunch of stone little kids playing drama. She's not great. Anyways, moving on from that.
A lot of these I haven't even heard of.
I mean, I can keep going, but there's so much that is, there is some good out there still, but there is so much that is just like a regurgitation of what once was good, but they completely lost the point. Like they forgot why Justified was good. They forgot what made these things good in the first place, and they're trying to cookie cutter these characters that you once loved into a new type of show, or into a modern depiction of the show, and it just doesn't work. The template is corrupt, guys. If you were continually working from the same template and the template doesn't work, dude, toss it out. Get a new template, guys. Get a new template. Figure something else out. I mean, to be fair, Righteous Gemstones is not using the same template. It's just, for me, some of the actors like just drive me nuts. Succession is not using the same template. You're right. But god damn it, you have to invest so much time and mental energy into that, it's not worth it. But everything else is pretty much, everything else is just sort of bland and untalented and cookie cutter. Even the stuff that has names you remember, like Futurama and Justified on it. You'd think you would love these things. Even my beloved Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I'm watching it, and the last episode was fantastic. But every episode before that was like, why are you holding back? 15 seasons of this show. You've never once shied away from a joke, from a group of people. You've never once had a problem tackling any single problem, any single topic. Yet you come into this new season and you can tell immediately, every person in there is worried about getting canceled. They're so careful with every topic they touch. They almost exclusively make fun of each other, and they won't even they won't go outside the box. It's not the same show. It's not. I gotta tell you, what's his name? Ryan Reynolds' partner. He's in Mythic Quest. Oh my god, I'm forgetting. He plays the gay guy in Always Sunny. Rob McKinley. Rob McKinley is one of the writing partners on Always Sunny because he's one of the three guys. He has gotten so progressive over the last like 5 or 6 years that he refuses to allow his writing partners, and this is my theory, I don't know exactly, but he refuses to allow Glenn Howerton and Charlie Day to actually do their thing. Glenn Howerton actually had an episode that he wrote and he starred in that was specifically about him and only him this last episode. You can tell that the rest of the cast had nothing to do with it because it was the only good episode of the entire season so far. Where he got to tackle like the problem with modern society. But everything else, like it's just so bland. Everyone's so safe. And when they're not safe, they're offensive. It's like there's no in between. It's like, let's be offensive and so show you underage boobies and penises and bad acting, or let's be so safe that our comedy is bland and lifeless.
Well, I can give you a couple that aren't so bad. Poker Face on Peacock's actually a really good show. It's a mystery every week, whodunit kind of thing, kind of like Columbo, if you remember that. And I think
I watched the whole thing already. Not every week. It's over.
What's that?
I've already watched the whole thing.
No, when you watch the show every week, when it comes out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's going to have a new season. It's a new thing. Barry, I got to tell you, it was a great show.
Yeah, it's over now. Yeah,
on HBO. It is over, just finished, but that's something if you haven't seen it that you should definitely check out.
Good. That episode with the one quick like, there's a in I think it's the last episode of last season. There's this continuous shot of Barry who's on a motorcycle, and the camera follows him throughout this long shot where he goes up and top the car dealership, and it's just so brilliant the way it's done.
Yeah,
like I had to rewind it like 5 times to see how Barry got out.
Oh,
and but if you look, you can see him throughout the entire shot, working his way throughout the crowd to get out of that situation. It's very clever.
Yeah, I agree. Love that show. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is actually a really good show. I didn't expect that to be as good as it was, but I watched a few episodes of that and really liked it. I do want to talk about a little bit, and it's thank you to you, Brian, by the way, for giving me your Apple login. I don't know why we didn't talk about it sooner, but I don't know. It ended up working out. I ended up watching For All Mankind. I watched the first 2 seasons. And I got to tell you, it's a really interesting take on it. Really interesting take on the moon, the moon landing, of course. The one thing about this story is, of course, we didn't land on the moon first. It was the Russians, and how the course of history changes as a result of the fact that the Russians beat us to the moon and what that did to our society and culture. And I got to tell you, it's fascinating to see like who was elected as a result, the fact that some people end up going to space sooner, just kind of the way the whole dynamics of time changed throughout history. It's very fascinating to watch. It is a little slow from time to time. I find myself like, hoping like, when's the next like space thing going to happen? Because there are some elements of it that are kind of slow.
Yep.
But it is very dramatic, and you fall in love with the characters. So that's a really good show. And thanks to Chris, I think who was it? Was it Chris that said, hey, I needed to watch it last week or something like that? Or was it? No, it was Kyle, I think mentioned.
Kyle Approach.
So that was really cool. And then I, of course, went right into Ted Lasso because I wanted something light. And I now understand what everybody was talking about. Such a great show.
Ted Lasso is, you know what he is? He is a starship captain. He is a classic Star Trek captain, and you can't help but root for him until the last season.
Star Trek, I don't know about. I mean, I'm not sure.
That vibe though, where he brings these talented people with their own problems together. It has that same. It does the same for me that a lot of Star Trek did for me. It works.
He sneaks up on you, and I think they gave him that Southern twang to kind of make him seem almost like he's going to be an idiot. And but the way he approaches things are
the scene with the darts though.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah,
that is going to go down in history for me as one of those like There's like 50 all-time amazing scenes of television. That scene where he beats her ex-husband was so well done. See, like as the audience, you think that he's going to lose, but he's going to have something clever to say. They had already set this character up as someone who is good at losing. Right?
Well, and the husband doesn't lose.
Right. The husband doesn't lose, and they've already set up Lasso as someone who, in the face of loss, is able to be,
Bring
noble
everyone
and
together.
stand up and still. But then that moment he goes, but if you had asked me a question, you would have seen, and he just got perfect.
Right.
And you finally, that's the first time you actually see him winning. And he's winning versus the guy who always wins. And it was a really, really clever moment that just solidified right there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to love this character forever.
Yeah, no, I think Lasso is an example of how you create a TV show where it's easy to fall in love with the characters. Like each one of the characters has this endearing quality about it. And I think this is a good lesson to writers to watch a show like that. And when you're creating a character to say, you need to give them faults, but you also need to give them opportunities to, to come back from losses,
right?
To become better, to rise above. And that makes us fall in love with these characters. And I think a lot of shows don't understand how to write things that way.
Yeah. A show that I thought was going to do that was called The Bear. I'm not sure if anyone's
I haven't seen it. I know it's listed as one of the top shows of the season.
Yeah.
It's an FX show.
It's an FX show. I thought it was going to be like that. I thought I was going to show people that are broken by themselves, but together they're able to like rise above. But it never does that. It's like, it's constantly bad luck. It's constant broken. It's constant mistakes. There's glimmers of like familiar teamwork in there, but it's constantly subverted by their own selfish actions that hurt the whole. And I get that that's realistic in a way, but it's goddamn disheartening. It is frustrating to never see the main characters ever rise above their own problems to work together. It's so hard to see that, and you're just being teased on that, waiting. At some point, they're gonna work together as a team, right? No, and you're like, come on. I get you guys like it, but like it's such a downer series when it could have been something special like Lasso.
Right. And that's what you need. You need a character with that you understand their moral compass and that they don't break from it. Like that's the important thing is like Lasso, you understand who he is, and you're like, he's got a set of morals. He follows them to a fault, right? That's the way his character is.
Right.
You get a moment in season 2 where he actually becomes Led Tasso, where he all of a sudden becomes a completely different person. He's like screaming and yelling at people, because he's trying to get the team mad at him so the team will come together. Typical coaching strategy. And you go, oh, I don't like this character. He's breaking his moral compass. This is my problem with Star Trek. The characters break their moral compass, in my opinion. And that's whether it's a legacy character, somebody who's been around for, years and years and years. If that character breaks its compass in this show, it's like breaking it. You're breaking it, period.
Right.
And that's the problem with it. If you look at the character and go, I don't understand the character this way, then that's where you start having problems. So, take a look at a show like that. And I really hope the rest of Apple, so far, so good. I've loved everything I've seen on Apple.
So have you seen Mythic Quest yet?
I have not seen it yet.
All right. So I gotta tell you, that's something you're missing out on if you haven't seen it. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to characters that have problems but are able to work as a team to sort of rise above those problems and be successful, there's a lot of heart in that show. A lot. Yeah. There's a lot of comedy, but there's also a lot of heart. I really enjoy it.
I can only watch so much television, unlike you, which somehow you watch 7 shows at one time.
Well,
I can only watch one at a time.
I will not continue watching a show past the second episode if it doesn't capture me. I drop it.
I try to give it 3.
So yeah, well, I mean, if it's getting me there, if it's sort of working, I will. Like I watched the entire first and second season now of The Bear, and I'm still I'm not the entire second season yet, but I've watched all of The Bear so far, and I'm still very frustrated. I don't feel like I'm getting what I need out of it. There's one show that's really good. If you guys haven't seen this, it's by Nathan Fillion. It's called The Rehearsal. It's just a very clever, and I don't want to kill it for you, so I'm just going to say check out The Rehearsal and know that everything that show does is 100% real. And when you realize that, it's nuts. Also, Only Murders in the Building was surprisingly good. I thought it was going to be boring.
That's the Steve Martin one?
Yeah, Steve Martin one, and it ended up being actually really good. I really enjoyed it. And there's one last one that a lot of people are sleeping on, and I want to tell you guys to watch it. It's on Peacock, which you know Peacock is like my favorite all time thing. It's called Based on a True Story, and it has Kelly Cuckoo, whatever. It's really good, really good. We've already talked about Miss Davis. We like that. Someone said I gotta watch Twisted Mellow, so I'm gonna watch that now. I will check that out.
I'm not certain how I feel about Mrs. Davis. I'm not certain how I feel. I'm not sure if it was good or not.
I thought it was clever.
I mean, I thought it was clever, but that doesn't mean it was good.
That's true.
It was definitely clever.
I guess the bar is pretty low right now. That's why.
Yeah,
it's clever.
It didn't wrap up satisfactorily for me, and I don't think it's going to get a second season. So
you should check out a show called Based on a True Story. It's on Peacock. It's really well done. Really well done. It has a murder mystery vibe to it. It's very, very unique. I dug it a lot, actually.
Yeah, Caleb here mentions Ark. No, I know I saw the first episode of Ark, and I mean to come back to it. Brian, you were watching the Ark.
I watched the whole season. I did. I actually enjoyed it. I will go. I will not rest on the fact that the damn graphics look like something out of freaking PlayStation 1. They look horrible.
Not their fault though. They didn't get a lot of money to make it.
They don't. I get that.
What are you watching it on? What platform?
I believe it's on Peacock. Yeah, it's on Peacock.
Peacock. Okay.
So
yeah, we'll go back. That's a Dean Devlin production. It's Stargate. So
the writing is very good. With what they were given, I believe they did a very good job. I believe the acting is actually pretty stellar. None of the cast is immediately likable, but over time you do definitely like a couple of the characters. They have honor. You like the universe they're building. It's not believable yet, but it's getting there for me. It definitely has potential, but I gotta say they need more money. They need more money. They've spent the majority of that entire production is spent on the same exact set. You want to talk about a cheap show? 90% of that show is spent on the ship because they can't leave it. And the rest of it is sort of lackluster graphics, but it's a cool story. So I think it's worth your time. So yeah, there is good stuff out there, but in my opinion, a lot of it is sort of just not great. And the stuff that is great for me is just it's ending. Ted Lasso's ending, Barry's ending. There's things that are still great, but they're ending.
It's all ending, brother.
The stuff that's that stuff that's happening still is just not. It's just sort of bland.
It's all ending, and there's no end to this writer strike. Honestly, if I believe, strongly believe that the studios are going to let this thing run as long as they possibly can, because the reality is the studios have overspent on production, and they have a huge library with which people can go back and watch. Now with streaming, that's the other thing about streaming services over cable is they can go back and watch. It's video on demand now. It used to be cable. The cable companies or the channels, the different studios had to be concerned if they didn't bring out new shows. Then what were people going to watch? Old reruns. Now people watch whatever they want. I do feel like this strike is going to continue. They're going to push it as long as they can, and they're going to try to break those writers. I can feel it coming.
Yeah, I think they probably can. They have plenty of stuff you can. Most people are completely content watching older stuff. And there's so much to watch. Yeah. No, we're not sleeping on Ark. Like I said, I watched the entire first season of Ark. I enjoyed it. I believe they need more money, though. Like, give Dean Devlin more money. But that's not going to happen because strikes and all. So
I'm surprised Dean Devlin even did it. He said after Geostorm, he was done. He was done making stuff in Hollywood. But he came back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good story.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's transition. So that's the end of what you should be watching now. What do you want to talk about?
I don't even know how we got into that. Let's talk about Gay Splinter.
I had to really think about what you said there for a second. You want to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Let's talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and flaming homosexual Splinter.
Yeah, so that is, I got to tell you, that came out yesterday. I saw it on Twitter. I sent you a link if you want to look at it. It's a Bounding into Comics link.
I saw it.
That's actually what got me really curious to go see the movie, because I knew I wanted to talk about some stuff today. And so when I saw that they had made Splinter gay, I was like, whoa, that's like, why would you do that? Number one, he was a single dad, I guess is the best way you want to look at it. And the thing about Splinter was that he was, he was the guiding post for the.
He's a mutant rat. He doesn't have sexuality.
Right. What I'm saying is he was always the moral. He was he had the set of belief system. He was the stern, strict father, always looking out for the best interest of his turtles. And I'm like, somebody gave him a +1. What's up here? So I was surprised. And the evidence that was presented to us was a poster that is actually Paramount UK. So this is a Paramount product. It's Paramount in association with, oh my God.
Sony?
No, the kids show.
Nickelodeon.
And if you say here, you see this creature here, and
scumbag.
And I apologize. I actually took notes while I was at the movie theater, and I ran in here and left them in the house, so I can't go get them. But scumbag, if you show that right, if you'll notice, if you scroll back down, it says himself. Okay. In the movie, scumbag is actually a female, a her. And so this poster came out and it says himself. So misgendered, I guess. And somebody else who Bounding into Comments mentions here, if you scroll up, I can't remember the name of the person, but that person said they watched a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle version where that character was a man or male. Yes. Price of Reason said that the character was male. Well, I'll tell you, I went to go look and see, and I'll tell you that at least 3 different times in the movie, that character is spoken of as a her or a she.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some people saying that they in ADR they changed it, that they originally. Now I will say I don't know why Splinter has to have a partner at all.
So Splinter's actually making out with the scumbag character
at the very end. Yeah. So throughout the entire, and a couple spoilers here. Sorry, folks. Well, Splinter in this version of Splinter is one who's kind of lonely. The boys, the turtles are teenagers. They want to go out and do their own thing, and Splinter is just kind of stuck hanging out. He's trying to keep them at home, kind of like the Splinter, if you remember from the 1980s cartoons. And that's the version I go off of with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched the movies. I did not look at any comic books. Okay, right. So I don't have the comic book history, but I did watch the cartoons, and that's kind of how I gauge things. And I really love Splinter from the cartoons,
right?
And that version of him, he was strong, right? This version of Splinter, and let me just say about the movie overall as a whole, I don't understand why this animation style was chosen.
It's so bad. I hate it so much. I hate it. 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 I hate the low FPS animation style. Can we stop doing that? Please, so, Hollywood, stop killing.
When you say stop doing that, what are other things that did this?
Puss in Boots did the same thing. Not for the entire film.
Now, I saw Puss in Boots, and Puss in Boots was way better animation than this.
Yes, because they only used that low FPS for the action scenes. For the rest of the movie was fine, so it was not as noticeable.
Because it's cheaper?
I don't know why. I think they think it's stylistic. But what they do is, so in Puss in Boots, what they did was during the action scenes, they basically have the FPS from 23.5 to like 15. It makes it look more like comic booky, I guess, in their mind.
No.
To me, it looks more cheap and messy. Gross. Right, messy.
It looks messy. I would describe this animation as the Island of Misfit Toys animation.
It's bad.
Things don't look right. Like a lot of things edges aren't smoothed. It looks, you know what it is? I think it looks like a drawing. Maybe that's what you're talking about. It looks like kind of like a drawing in some aspects, right, where you don't finish off there's no smooth edges. Things are kind of
right. And in order to amplify that effect, they also dropped the FPS down really low, which they think is a stylistic choice, but a lot of us are just like, why is this way? It looks so choppy and unfinished.
Yes. And so I did get that sense from watching the movie that it felt a little unfinished. And specifically, some of the characters just didn't look right. Like, for example, Splinter's character looks weird. He's like awkwardly chubby on the lower half. So was April O'Neil's character. Like just strangely body shape looks weird.
So the fat chick is April O'Neil?
The black girl?
Is she black too?
Yes. Oh yeah. She's black.
So she's like
she's like a little chubby black teenager.
A chubby black teenager. Okay.
Right.
So weird.
Well, I mean, it's different from what we remember. And also, so the Splinter character is different. Like he's not a fit
that is April O'Neil. Like, why would you do that?
So,
I don't understand. Why would you do that? Why would you go against what everyone likes about these characters?
I'll tell you why. Because that's what Hollywood does. We talked about it earlier. They do it with everything. So they find an IP and they're like, okay, we're going to do this. All right. So what's up with the characters? Let's talk about the characters. Okay. The first thing they say is, okay, what can we change to be socially significant? That's the first thing they do. Which characters can we change? Well, can't really change the turtles, right? They are, it'd be difficult. I mean, you could change them, but that's going to be really drastic, right?
Right.
So who can we change? Well, Splinter just he's like a different variation of the character. I wouldn't say Splinter is that much different. I mean, he still has the same morals, the same same moral compass. He's still, looking out for the best interest of his boys. He cares and loves them, and he hates humans. So basically, the character is the same. But he's kind of an old fuddy-duddy. He's kind of a little bit out of touch, and they've got him made up as if he's super old, as opposed to just being, a little bit older.
Did he hate humans in the original? I don't remember him hating humans.
He didn't trust them.
He didn't trust them. That's true.
Right. Yeah. So, and they give a really good backstory here. The one thing I will say about this story is that even though the animation it doesn't look great, even though they've done some weird things with some of the characters, the story is actually very good. The story that's told is I believe fairly accurate to, very true to the characters. It's kind of hopeful. There's an element of bringing both sides together, of two different sides together to create something positive. It's not a divisive movie where they're trying to continue to break down society. I thought there was a really good message. I thought the characters pretty much represented themselves properly. And we got kind of a beginning story to, if you look back there, Bebop and Rocksteady, some of the characters, the bad guys later on that you'll see, you got kind of a little bit of their backstory and kind of how everybody became mutants. I thought it was actually done really well. I liked the story quite a bit.
Yeah.
The
I'm
animation.
not gonna
was
watch a
just
frame
difficult.
of this, to be honest.
Well, the animation was just so difficult.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was actually a good story. Like I was surprised because there's not been a lot of really great choices. Seth Rogen is one of the 3 writers on this, and he's not been making great choices lately.
What is
with stuff he's been
Scumbag?
doing.
What is that thing?
Scumbag is a I want to say, is it the cockroach or it's the only one that doesn't speak, and somehow it's got its own alien language, but it's like a cockroach or something. It's either, I'm not sure if it's the cockroach or it's one of the bugs. But
so gross and weird. Like everything about this is weird. Ugh.
Well, let me give you the rest of it here.
Go ahead.
You didn't see it. I did. So, and I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. You're not going to like it because you're a quality queen, and it's definitely not. You're not going to like the animation. I know.
Yeah.
But if you just close your eyes and listen to the story, it's a great story. April O'Neil has been changed from the white redheaded reporter.
Well, she was actually a Hispanic redheaded before.
No.
Yeah, she was.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she was.
She had darker skin, but she wasn't Hispanic.
She was Hispanic. She was. Yes, she was.
I don't think so.
I remember.
Nope.
Yep. Anyways, regardless, now she's this frumpy looking thing.
No, April O'Neil was not.
Yes, she was. She was Hispanic. She was Latina.
I don't think so.
Anyways, more
Maybe, are you
ginger
talking about
side.
the comic book version?
Yeah, the comic book version. She was Latina.
No, I told you I didn't watch comic books.
Yeah, but
She's
the
not.
cartoon
She
was based on
cartoon.
comic books.
No, she was a white redheaded girl, dude.
Okay, we can argue about this all day long. That's fine. Let's move on.
I will give you there's no argument about it. This is clear.
There is an argument. She was
and
definitely
it's
Latina.
important that everybody understands before I say what I'm going to say. So you cannot give them wrong information here. This is the picture of her in the TV series, in the cartoon. The one on the right. That is not a Latina.
That I don't know what that one on the right on the left is. That's not the one in the comic.
That was the comic book version.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know. That's what
I
somebody's
read
saying.
the comic book version. That was not the comic book version.
Okay, but let's focus on what I'm saying here. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So this version, so you got to hear. So that redheaded girl was the comic book, was the TV show cartoon version.
Yes.
She was a reporter. Okay, and she made friends with the turtles, right?
Right.
So in this version of it, this April O'Neil is a high school student who wants to be a reporter, wants to be a journalist, but doesn't want to be on camera. So they've kind of taken the character, some qualities of the character, and they've changed a little bit. Honestly speaking, other than changing the gender or changing the race of the character, there really isn't anything woke about it. Like, she's just a girl. She's just a kind of a nerdy high school girl. Now, granted, the other April was an adult. So
yeah, she was
that
an
is
actual
something
reporter.
different. And she was an actual reporter. Right. And in this version, she's basically a teenage girl who's trying to get the prom put back on. The prom's been canceled. And she wants to write this really cool story, right, and try to solve this mystery, this bad guy. Because the character the main character in the movie, the bad guy is somebody called Superfly, played by Ice Cube. He did a really great job with it. And she's trying to solve this mystery. And so the turtles believe that if they help bring Superfly to justice, then society will accept them, basically. And they won't think of them as freaks. So they go on this mission to try to take care of this and do this. And yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward. There's nothing woke about it. There's nothing weird. You've got some of the voices in this are John Cena, who plays Rocksteady. Giancarlo Esposito plays the guy who started this whole problem, Baxter Stockman, who invented the ooze. You got Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. Ice Cube is Superfly. You got some really great voices here. and everybody did a really good job. Even Maya Rudolph is in here as the bad lady. And by the way, in this show, the bad guy, the super bad guy, is a woman. So yeah, so nothing woke about this. If you enjoy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think you can go watch this. Other than the fact that they race swapped a character and they made Splinter seem kind of weird looking. Jackie Chan plays Splinter. And Jackie Chan's English has just seemed to have gotten worse. He sounds so...
Yeah.
He almost sounds like a comic version, a comedic version of a stereotypical Asian.
Bro, yeah, you know what's funny is I watched a movie on Netflix recently called Hidden Strike. Okay? Hidden Strike with John Cena and I'm sorry, I gotta mute it. John Cena and Jackie Chan. And bro, I can't understand a word Jackie Chan's saying. And it's typical Jackie Chan where he's like doing all the stunts and all that. And John Cena carries the crap out of this movie. First off, the movie doesn't make any sense. There's so many plot holes and problems, but it's fun just seeing them like fly around and do weird stunts. This is the movie Hidden Strike. Half of it is in Chinese because I think that Jackie Chan couldn't say the English lines.
Oh,
so they just kept doing like subtitles or something. I don't know. But it's clearly like for the company of China kind of movie. It's like the good guys are these guys, but they work for like the company, and the bad guys are the Americans trying to steal the oil or whatever.
Oh, wow.
But Jackie Chan was inaudible. Like, can't understand a word he's saying the entire movie.
Yeah, it was tough. It was for a second. I'm like, is that Jackie Chan? It just seems so over the top. I mean, almost. But and also Mr. Beast is as a voice in here, which I think is pretty funny.
Of course.
Also Post Malone. A lot of people in this thing here. Now I didn't agree. I don't understand why they had to go down the road of giving Splinter a partner. He does go through multiple times in this movie where he basically says he's lonely. I don't know why they felt like they had to go down that road. It wasn't necessary, and it didn't really add anything to it. So if they were going to go that route, and it's possible that they chose to make him, LGBTQ somehow, and then somehow in ADR they went back and had people change it, and they just kind of decided, nah, we're not going to go that route.
Seth Rogen came down off his blazing stone mind. He's like, you know what? We should probably not make him gay, right? Let's fix that.
Listen, anybody who watches it would be like, come on. Like, at what point do you just call it pandering? I mean, the guy was with nobody. Now you've got to turn, and I get it. Like, that's where this is going. And we're going to talk about
mosquito cockroach thing. And
we're going to talk about Haunted Mansion next, which is going to also bleed into the same problem that we're having. And the problem is that the need and desire to change things because it is now socially unacceptable to not embrace this non-white male thing that they got going on.
But we'll talk about that in the members section.
What's that?
We'll talk about that in the members section, right?
No. Haunted Mansion?
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about it here?
No. Yeah. It's on the thumb. We can't listen. Anything that's on the thumb, we got to talk about.
That's not
it is. It's in the title.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we have to talk about it, but we can expand on it some more if you want in the member section.
Sure.
But I think it's important to note that this movie, I think, is fine. And if they did make that change and they said, look, let's not do that. That's one step too far, making Splinter, and I would agree that's one step too far. The character was not that. There's no reason to make him that other than to have an agenda. And to me, this movie doesn't have an agenda. So
Shane, what do you think about the demasking of the turtles?
They look exactly the same. Nothing changed. Like the thing about the turtles is, like all of the art done in this, the turtles are probably the best drawn thing, the most clearly drawn. I thought all the actors did a good job of representing each of the characters as we know the characters to be. The turtles, each of them in their own way. They were just like we remember them from the cartoons. And then when they demasked them at the end, where they actually went to high school, sorry if you guys didn't want that spoiler. I didn't really notice any different. And I don't think anybody else would either. There's 4 turtles out there. I don't know why they're wearing a mask. So
Right. It's like, what is the mask hiding their identity? You're a giant turtle.
well, that's that's always been the problem.
What's the
though.
mask gonna do?
I know they're supposed to be ninjas, And I will say, if you guys listen, and if you care about it, and you care about this a lot, and you don't want a spoiler, there is a post-credit scene which I'm going to share right now. I'll give you 3 seconds to mute it or something like that.
Oh no!
We get Shredder at the very end.
All right.
So we will have probably another movie,
I'm
and I think
assuming-
it's worthy of another one.
I'm assuming he's a giant cockroach, and
We only get the back of him, so.
stupid. All right, move
Well,
on.
okay. Well, I mean, I know you said it's all stupid, but I just gave you like some pretty good information. So what's stupid? Let's hear your thoughts.
I think the entire thing is stupid. The animation looks really, really bad. It just seems so childish, the whole thing. I get it. It's Ninja Turtles. There's got to be an air of immaturity there. But the Ninja Turtles are supposed to be cool too. Like, it's not supposed to be one giant Nickelodeon TikTok that went.
They
too
were
long.
cool. They were cool, and I got to tell you, the fighting in there was good. Like everybody kicks some ass, man. Even Splinter kicks some ass. So they're cool. I mean, the turtles are exactly like you remember them.
Everything I've seen in the trailers looks.
The animation is choppy, and I think that's. Can we just everything that I said? Let's put aside the animation because you seem stuck there. What do you think about the rest of what I said
But
about
how
it?
can
And
the
about
fighting
Splinter
be
and all?
cool if you can't? If like everything is just so choppy and like how can it be cool? You're saying that
kick
the
ass.
dialogue is cool?
Well, they kick ass. I mean, listen, just because it's not the perfect or beautiful animation doesn't mean you can't see what's happening on screen. You know what I mean?
All right.
You know,
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. To me, it just looks. I don't know. Who knows? You guys might like it.
yeah. I liked it better than Haunted Mansion. So there you go.
Yeah, bar is pretty low there, huh, boss?
Well, let's put it this way: Haunted Mansion was a meh movie, like 2.5 out of 5 stars, right? And it was better than that. So
yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean that's not good for Haunted Mansion.
I'd give the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story. I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5, and I give the animation a 2 out of 5.
That seems like a pretty fair rating, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
So what's up with Haunted Mansion? Why can't, just moving on from TMNT, why can't Disney seem to lock down this Haunted Mansion thing? Right? So we're on attempt 2, right?
Well, 2 or 3, right?
Or 2 or 3? How many Haunted Mansions are there now? They can't seem to figure this thing out.
Well, and here's the thing: here's what's really crazy about it. Like when you got Eddie Murphy as your star, who he was the star in the earlier version, I think 2003. It's a problem. Like you've got a problem if Eddie Murphy doesn't bring home your film, and you've got a classic IP. I mean, the Haunted Mansion terrified me when I was 5 and 6 years old.
Right.
But the first time I got to go on that ride, I did not want to go on that ride. It was a haunted mansion, and I didn't want to have nothing to do with it as a kid. They forced me to go through the ride, as all good parents did in the 70s, and I ended up, of course, loving it at the end of it. But and it's one of the great rides of Disneyland. It's next to Pirates of the Caribbean, it tells a story while you're going through the ride, and there should be a sentimental thing to it. But Pirates of the Caribbean had Johnny Depp, and they had a character. Go ahead.
Right. But so literally in Disneyland, these two rides are literally next to each other.
Right next door, yes.
Um,
in New Orleans Square.
And it is a great idea to catch lightning in a bottle twice by taking your other very popular ride and making a story out of it. And if you have ever been on that ride, there is a ton of things you can pull from. There's already a story there, actually.
Yep.
You can actually make a whole story out of that thing. And there's amazing things that everyone that's ever been to Disneyland would remember, with the stretching paintings and the heads and all the crazy stuff they've been doing since the 70s. But if you watched the Eddie Murphy version of it, they didn't lean in any of that.
You're right. And they learned their lesson from that.
Really, because what they did was they're like, well, what made Pirates of the Caribbean popular? Johnny Depp. So let's lean into the one character, and it didn't work out.
Right. And it didn't work out because Eddie was going through... Eddie's a certain type of character.
Well, plus, Pirates of the Caribbean did both things, though. They leaned into that crazy actor, but then they also had a lot of stuff that was a sort of a throwback from the ride, too. It wasn't just about Johnny.
A couple things, yeah. They had the dog with the key. But you had an iconic music. But you had an iconic character in Jack Sparrow. Is just he's a classic, instant classic character.
Right.
That was created. Eddie Murphy's character was forgettable. And to give him credit for this movie that just came out last week, they did attempt to mirror the ride in as many ways as possible. So spoilers coming for this movie as well.
Good.
If you guys don't want them. They really did a good job of trying to bring in the elements of the stretching paintings, of the oracle in the crystal ball, the
headless ghost thing, yeah.
Who, by the way, is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Does a good job. One of the problems that this movie has, aside from the main problem, which I'll get into right now, is that it does have some animation issues. Some of it does look very fakey, very not real. And that's probably not the right word, fakey.
Yeah. But, I get what you're saying, like uncanny. This is Disney, the billion dollar international company who has been making animation since before we were born. How is it that they can have a single graphical issue in a single thing they ever create ever?
Well, they animate Jamie Lee Curtis's face in the crystal ball. I don't know if they couldn't figure out how to make her hair do what they wanted to do, but it's a computer generated version of her.
So it's uncanny.
And it's obvious.
Yeah,
it's uncanny.
They're trying to save money.
Right. And Jared Leto plays the Hatbox Skeleton, the main villain. Jared Leto does. And that character also looks cartoony in a way when you see it, which takes away from it. But honestly, the biggest problem with Haunted Mansion is the main character. So if you guys aren't familiar with Lakeith Stanfield, he is the Wish version of Dave Chappelle. And I put a tweet out yesterday, which is the perfect picture for, you don't want to use the picture that they have here in his cast. You want to use the one that I tweeted out yesterday because he looks freaking exactly like Dave Chappelle. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I don't know, twinsies or something.
Yeah, he looks like a young Dave Chappelle.
He does. And the problem is, listen, Lakeith, he's been around for a long time. He's done lots of movies. And there's some stuff that he's been fine in, but the problem is he's not a leading man. He's not a leading man. He's a supporting character, supporting actor at best, and he does a good job here. He does his best job. He's acting his ass off, but there's something missing. There's a charismatic, there's a charisma, there's something missing. He's more of a character that gives you like, he's maybe too quiet, or he doesn't have the gravitas that Denzel has, or that some of these other great black actors have, this like gravity.
He needs to be more magnetic. Although I liked him as Snoop Dogg in that one movie.
Yeah, he was great in, and that's one of the reasons why he got so much work, because he was in
I want to say Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Snoop, and he's been in a lot of stuff. He's been in Selma. He's been in The Purge. I think he was in the first time I really noticed him was in one of those Saw movies, I think.
He was in the Onion movie.
Yes,
too.
he was. Yes, he was. He was
Something
in
Onion.
Knives Out.
Knives Out. Yeah.
He played Lieutenant Elliot. And he's just got this kind of unassuming demeanor about him.
Right. He's not a magnetic personality like
Right.
Johnny Depp or even
But-
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy could have done a better job in that role.
Right. So what did they do? So why is Lakeith Stanfield the guy? So let me tell you who the bad guy is. The bad guy is Jared Leto. Okay. Jared Leto is an incredible actor.
He's very magnetic.
And let me tell you, you never see him. The character is CGI.
You should have had Jared Leto play the main character.
Jared Leto should have been the main character.
Yeah.
Why can't Jared Leto be the main character of this movie?
Oh, we know why.
I'm just saying it because he's white.
He's a white guy.
He's a white guy, and you're not going to have a white guy be the main star
Not in
of the
Disney.
Haunted Mansion movie.
Yeah, not in Disney.
Okay, especially because it takes place in New Orleans,
Right.
which, even though tons of white people live in New Orleans, Hollywood believes that only
Funny.
black people live there for some reason.
Right. For some reason, that's the only people that ever lived there. Right.
And so they cast him, and it's a win-win for them, they think, because okay, well, we're doing this location piece, we have to have an African-American cast, which they do. It's mostly African-American cast. It's about a family with it's a young family where played by Rosario Dawson, who
I like her a lot.
yeah, she's fine. And listen, all the acting was fine. Leave race out of it. That doesn't matter.
She's very
Honestly,
fine.
it doesn't matter. If you would have had, a Denzel, or if you would have had any black actor that has a lot of good gravitas and can control the screen and has good charisma,
Magnetism.
it would have turned out great. The color of skin does not matter.
No, yeah.
What we're saying is Jared Leto.
You
It's
had Jared
always in
Leto
your
though.
movie.
You had your second
Right.
Johnny Depp right there.
You had it. I mean, even Owen Wilson plays second fiddle to Lakeith Stanfield, and Owen Wilson steals the screen.
He's very magnetic personality.
And he's kind of the standard. Danny DeVito's in this movie, and he plays. He's
Danny
perfect. He's the
DeVito
perfect
is
spy.
extremely magnetic. Yeah, you know what? You just had the wrong person do it. I
That's
think
what it is.
I think calling him a wish David Chappelle is harsh. I think he's a good actor. I think he's just.
I'm
not-
thinking of his looks, really.
Oh,
I wasn't
see.
basing it on his talent. I think he's a talented, background actor. I just don't think he's a leading man. And no disrespect to him. It's just I think that they're giving these roles based on they want to, they want this social, they want to make points socially. Instead of looking at your lineup and going, well, shit, let's make Jared Leto. I mean, you couldn't even hear Jared's voice. The voice has changed.
What a waste.
It was pointless to have Jared Leto play this character because
Let's
just
just
didn't-
spend a bunch
you
of
didn't know.
money.
right? And so you have him play the main character. You know what I've also noticed? There's hardly any mixed race relationships. Have you noticed this? I was
Yeah.
thinking about it. I'm okay, if you want Rosario Dawson to do it, make Jared Leto the guy and let her be the love interest. Right? But I started thinking about it, and I can't think of a lot of stuff where there's mixed race stuff going on. Have you noticed this? Is it derogatory now? Is it not good to have mixed races?
I guess not.
Because I've noticed that films are not really going down that road. I know.
Yeah, it seems like they're definitely shying away from mixed race all of a sudden.
Right?
I don't know why though.
But I'm just thinking about it, trying to think across movies. I'm you don't see much of that going on. And I don't know if there's this element of, strong black woman with strong black man, whatever, strong white man with strong white, whatever you want to call it. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of mixing of that stuff going on.
Right.
So maybe they couldn't go that route with Jared. But honestly, it would have made the movie better. And I think the storyline was fine. Like the storyline was pretty cool. It was a mystery. They had to solve it. The stuff happening with the ghosts, spoiler, they end up, once they show up in the house, and which, by the way, they do a good job of representing the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Like you think it's the inside of the Haunted Mansion.
That's cool.
But once they go inside, once they leave, the ghost follows them home, just like the ride, which forces them to come back.
Right.
And then they get stuck there trying to solve this mystery.
All right.
So it's actually got a pretty good story, but it's forgettable because the performance of the main character is weak.
So you're saying that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a better movie?
Yes, because it had a better story.
Interesting. Which movie would I like more?
Oh, well, you're gonna hate TMNT because of the visuals,
right?
So it doesn't matter. Like it will be the worst movie you've seen all year. Because it doesn't matter what the story is for you.
It doesn't.
If the visuals are not good, then the story doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, if the visuals are like, I get so distracted by visuals.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's your Haunted Mansion review there. I guess I have to go watch it because now I'm intrigued.
I mean, it's worth a watch. I mean, it's worth the price of popcorn, but it's 2.5 out of 5. That's it.
2.5 out of 5. It's not that bad. That doesn't sound like a bad thing. I don't know.
Well, okay. Let me give you a 5-star movie. I can't give a 5-star. Mission Impossible 4.
That wasn't a
4
5-star.
out of 5.
That's like 4 out of 5. Yeah.
I can't come up with a 5-star. You're right. But
what about Meg 2 Into the Trench?
I just saw like 0 on the Rotten Tomato, like 0.
Does it have 0?
0.
No.
Pull it up real quick. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. Pull it up.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I noticed it just before we went on.
No way.
Meg 2, 0.
No, I don't believe it. I mean, Meg 1 didn't have a great
certifiably. Oh, this is the 20.
Well, it just came out today, so it's 20%. That rating's going to change.
It was. I did notice it before we came on. It was 0.
Yeah, that's rating. That was 0 because only one person had seen her or whatever.
Let me tell you something. I saw the previews. That movie's gonna suck.
Look, I'm sorry. Did you like the first Meg?
No.
See, and here's the deal. I thought the first Meg was very stupid, but it was also fun.
What the fuck was fun about it? I'm sorry.
It was fun.
What was fun about it?
Fun. It was a fun movie. It was stupid.
I know what you're talking about. I'm Jason Statham. We're going to jump on this and we're going to do this thing.
Look, here's the deal. You want to know why they made a Meg 2?
I don't understand what the hell Jason's saying ever.
He does mumble a lot. Even though it only got a 43% and a 40, who cares about the critics? But a 43% audience rating. They made a Meg 2. I'll tell you why they made a Meg 2. Because Meg 1 made a ton of money.
It did, but because everybody was like, whoa, a giant shark. I got to go see this. But they're not going to be fooled into a second one.
Yeah, they will. They will. Just so you know, Fast and Furious movies have similar ratings to what that movie has.
Fast and Furious has 10 movies. There's like a history.
Right. But my question is, who cares about the rating if it's making a bunch of money? People are watching it.
I mean, I could be wrong because Sharknado has a whole bunch of movies. So who knows?
Oh, yeah, a ton of movies. I mean, but yeah.
Did you see a great white washed up on the shores of North Carolina the other day?
Dude, Fast X has a 47% tomato meter for critics, 84% audience. Like, the audience don't give an F anymore.
Yeah, I love seeing Jason Momoa go, all right, guys, let's do it.
Oh, my God. I got to tell you, like, Fast X is probably the worst of all of the Fast and Furious movies. I still watched it. I still enjoyed it for the most part. But in no way am I actually... I'm not taking it serious anymore. Like, I'm just waiting for them to do stupid, crazy stuff.
Did you ever take that movie?
No, I tried to.
Okay.
I would say like Fast 5, I was attempting to take it serious.
When what's his name got killed, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
that was like the last time it was serious.
Right. When like he had that heart-filled moment at the very end where he's like, they're on the road and they'd use his brother to like do the shots. I think it was 6 actually, whatever it was. And you saw him look over at him, and you saw the path where the cars split off, and it's like it's been a long. Whatever. That was great. Now listen, the next movie though, when they blasted a Pinto into space sealed with duct tape, is when I pretty much completely fell off the whole I'm taking this serious train.
Yeah, I saw the comment here about Haunted Mansion doing really bad at the box office. Let's be honest and let's be fair. Any movie that comes out after Barbenheimer for like the next 30 days is totally screwed. I went to see last night. Barbie was still sold out. Barbie was still sold out 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know how many people I had in my Haunted Mansion movie? 4. You know how many of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? 8. That was it.
Oh my god. So yeah, dude, the Fast and Furious, the return of Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious 4, the movie that made almost $2 billion, only had a 29% Rotten Tomato score. What?
People were hungry for action.
Bro, it came back and that's what set off the entire franchise again. Remember, so Fast and Furious 1 was a hit. They made two Fast and Furious, but Homeboy wouldn't come back. He's like, I'm not coming back because you're not paying me enough. So they made it without him, with Paul Walker. And then they thought the franchise was dead. So they're like, well, people will still want to go see this movie. So let's make a third movie. Let's bring in completely new characters and have a lower budget and make Tokyo Drift, right?
I like that movie, by the way. I
actually love Tokyo Drift. I like the soundtrack. I actually know the guy who did the soundtrack at the very beginning of it. I actually know him personally. He used to play clubs here in SoCal. No, dude, that movie made a ton of money. And it was tracking to make all this money again. And they're like, all right. So they get Vin Diesel like, you got to come back and do this end stinger for this movie. We'll give you, X amount of dollars. Well, when he does it, it sets the whole thing ablaze again. And they're like, okay, let's do Fast and Furious 4, completely ignoring Tokyo Drift.
Right.
And that has the lowest score of all the movies, made the most amount of money.
Well, because he was back. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to tell you.
I don't know, man. So the Meg 2, I'm gonna go watch it.
I am not going to watch that movie. I don't care. I'm just not going to go watch it.
Yeah, you know what? According to Cinemark, this movie is hot.
What?
I'm looking at the Cinemark right now, the Meg 2 advanced tickets, and that is the trending movie on advanced tickets right now. Yeah, this movie is hot.
Well, they want you to buy it. That's why.
No, it doesn't say that about it doesn't say that about TMNT or whatever.
The Meg made 145 million domestic and 530 globally. Meg 2 is targeting 25 to 30 million in its debut, which those estimates are a significant drop from the first film, which opened to 45 million.
Dude, I might go see Meg 2 tomorrow, man.
Enjoy.
Might go see it, bro.
By the way, there's multiple Meg now this time, and guess what? They hunt in packs, we learned. Jurassic Park taught us nothing.
It's really stupid. It's really quite stupid.
They are stupid.
The fact that
and I love Jaws.
The whole Meg thing where they broke through the ice barrier.
Look, I would have been cool with why
are you guys still there? If it's so dangerous, why do you keep going back to the trench?
Well, it would have been cool to have a Meg movie that was like an offshoot of Jaws that was kind of serious and dangerous. But instead they turned it into, a comedy.
How do you even get the Meg back into our time period then without being stupid?
Well, I mean, I love the idea of sticking him down in the trench. That made sense. That's someplace we haven't been. There's a Meg or a couple Meg or whatever. down there, but there can't be more than that.
Well,
And
I
then,
like the idea of like the trench. The reason things don't come up from the trench is because they have
great
this, like,
idea.
that cold barrier or whatever.
Yep.
That was cool.
No, it was all good, but they ruined it by turning it into like a circus once it got up top, and then it's just weird, unrealistic. And maybe they didn't have enough money. I don't know what it was, but they needed to have more tension, more drama, more fear, and it wasn't. It was just action.
I gotta say, I think you're right, because like the setup actually is pretty good. Like they're exploring the trench, and in the process of, I think Rebecca Romaine's in that, right?
Yeah. Can I tell you what the problem in the movie is?
Well, in the process of breaking that barrier, they let the thing out. Now it should have gone from into a horror movie, not an action movie.
Do you know why the movie is terrible? Jason fucking Statham. That's why, because he's an action hero and he's going to do action hero stuff. And I'm sorry, they needed a Roy Schneider. They needed somebody who was terrified of the water, or somebody who should not be there and is, that ends up saving the day. Come on, guys. They already wrote the story for you. All you got to do is redo it.
Dude, they had Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson should have been the main character in that
he would have.
movie.
Yeah, why not have him be the
instead of making him like the rich douchebag or whatever? You should have had. You could have been the rich guy who doesn't like the water, but he's there to catch up and see like the history being made, and that's when all hell breaks loose. And it should have been a horror movie where like they couldn't get anyone. There was a storm. It's breaking through. You're right. It should have gone. It should have been straight into a horror movie after that setup. Yeah, you have a point. Jason Statham shouldn't have been in the movie. He should have been Rainn Wilson. And Rainn Wilson is a good actor.
Yeah, he is a great actor. He could pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm tired of Rainn Wilson always being like the douchebag. Can we make a serious Rainn Wilson movie, please?
He's getting old, man. It's getting tough.
He can do it. He can do it. The only good thing about Discovery was that one episode where Rainn Wilson was Harry Mudd.
Yeah. No, he did good. Hopefully he gets a chance. There's an interesting discussion with him and, oh my God, Bill Maher. Is it Bill Maher? Yeah. Where they actually had a discussion where when he was doing The Office, didn't enjoy it because he was more worried about becoming a big movie star. And that's the route he wanted to go.
Really?
And it just all kind of backfired on him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he went too hard in the paint because, like, you see, like, he could have been. He picked the wrong movies. I gotta tell you, like, so he picked that movie, The Rocker. That was supposed to be like his breakout role, but the writing was not good.
No, it wasn't good.
Not good. He picked the Meg, but he wasn't the main character. I don't know. I think that he needs better. Someone needs to give him better. He needs to pick better. He needs to pick better. That's it. He needs to pick better. Pick better series. He needs to. You know what he needs to do? He needs to pick that one ultra dramatic role where he can really sink his teeth in, and then anything from there will always be, valuable.
Oh my God! It says Barbie's third weekend is going to do double what the Meg does in its opening weekend.
Sounds about right.
Jesus.
Sounds about right. All right. Well,
you know what? Movie I can't stand, and I just want to like, and this is all the fault of previews because I've seen so many movies. I do not want to see Gran Turismo. I've seen Gran Turismo so many times in the previews that I am just sickened by it, and I do not want to watch that movie now, even though it's got an interesting idea.
Is that the video game one?
Right, the guy who's like an excellent Gran Turismo video game player.
Yeah, it's actually based on a true story.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm just so over it. I've seen the preview so many. I hate it when that happens, when you're like so inundated with a preview that you just don't want to watch the movie anymore.
That might be the best way, by the way. The best way to make a video game movie is to actually base it on like a true story like that. But you're right. Yeah. I've seen the preview so many times, like I'm just sort of over it now.
I'm over it. I feel like they've showed the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just not interested.
I felt the same though about Ford versus Ferrari, and then when I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it.
Well, look, you have in it. I mean, you have great actors in that movie. Who's this guy got? Like an unknown kid?
But I remember seeing Ford vs. Ferrari trailer before every single thing I couldn't escape.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, all right, moving on. So we are going to the members section here pretty soon. We do have a membership goal, which I probably should have mentioned at the top.
Oh, we did. It's so good now.
We would like to get a couple new members today. So if you want to join us in the members section, we are so bad at this.
We'd like to meet our membership goal of 0. If you just come on over with us, that'd be fantastic.
It's pretty easy. We're going to be heading over there right now. Listen, the member section is great. It's on our second channel. Basically, you can click on the link in the description of this stream to get there, or you can do nothing and the stream will take you there. And I will also put it in chat real quick just to make it ultra easy for everyone involved. If you want to join us in the member section, we let our hair down a little bit. We talk to people. We also share about upcoming stuff we're doing, and sort of shoot the shit and get a little more personal. And that's where we're going right now. So Shane, got anything else before we head over there?
Nope, had a great time with you guys today. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I hope you guys come to the member section where we'll try to share some stuff we're probably not supposed to talk about. And if we don't see you, though, then we'll catch you next week. And we love you and appreciate you guys.
Ditto. See you in the member section, guys. Come on over. The water's warm. Thank you for all the super chats today. We love you guys. And we'll see you on the other side.
See you then.